Chapter 745. Identification Result, Confirmed Biological. _4. Old Mr. Jiang turned his head obstinately. I'm not crying. Xiaoran, thank you. Old Mistress Jiang looked at Dr. Xiaoran. Aching, it's my duty. Dr. Xiaoran replied. Old Mr. Jiang stood up anxiously. Let's go, Aching. We're going to find our daughter. All right. The two elderly people left the laboratory and got in the car. This time they were even more eager than when they were on their way to the lab. Aching, do you think I look okay in these clothes? Old Mr. Jiang was both anxious to see his daughter and worried about his appearance. Old Mistress Jiang smiled with tears in her eyes. Look at you, your clothes are all covered in mud. I told you to change before we left. The couple sat restlessly in the car. Do you think Tingting will recognize us? Asked Old Mistress Jiang nervously. Will she blame me for not taking good care of her when she was young? It was all my fault, all my fault. If I had been more vigilant, we wouldn't have lost our Tingting. Old Mr. Jiang consoled her. It wasn't your fault, Aching. It wasn't. Soon they arrived at the village entrance. Old Mr. Jiang and Mistress Jiang hurriedly got out of the car and practically ran towards the Ni family's courtyard. In no time they arrived at the Ni family's courtyard. Old Mistress Jiang looked at Old Mr. Jiang. Jiang Jun, do you have the identification report? We'll need to show it to our child. Old Mr. Jiang took the report out of his pocket immediately. Got it. Once the identification report was found, Old Mistress Jiang knocked on the door. Bang bang bang. Each knock getting more urgent than the last. Then the door opened. The two elderly people were overjoyed. Tingting. But instead of Ni Tsuehua, it was Shangguan de Hui who opened the door. Uncle Jiang and Jiang. Where's Tingting? Oh wait, where's Dia? Asked Old Mistress Jiang. She's in the yard. Before Shangguan de Hui could finish speaking, Old Mr. Jiang and Old Mistress Jiang charged into the house. Shangguan de Hui rubbed his eyes in disbelief. When did Uncle and Aunt Jiang get so fast? He couldn't help but think that the look of disappointment on their faces when they saw him was unmistakable. Was he really that disappointing? Shangguan de Hui closed the door in confusion. When Old Master Jiang and Old Mistress Jiang rushed in, Ni Tsuehua was feeding a rabbit some vegetables. Tingting. Old Mr. Jiang and Old Mistress Jiang ran over and hugged Ni Tsuehua tightly. Tingting. Our dear daughter, we've finally found you. Ni Tsuehua was stunned. What's going on? Upon finally seeing their child, whom they had longed for day and night, the elderly couple couldn't help weeping. Shangguan de Hui was also a bit taken aback, as Ni Tsuehua had told him about her origins. He didn't expect her biological parents to show up so soon. Uncle Jiang, Aunt Jiang, are you sure you haven't mistaken me for someone else? Ni Tsuehua wiped away the tears from Old Mr. and Mistress Jiang. Although she had long known she wasn't her parents' biological daughter, the idea that Old Mr. and Mistress Jiang could be her biological parents was hard to believe. This was too incredible. Shangguan de Hui stepped forward and said, Uncle Jiang, Aunt Jiang, this is not a joking matter. How are you so certain that Dia is your biological daughter? He knew that the Jiang family had lost a daughter many years ago, and he could understand the elder couple's feelings. But if this turns out to be a misunderstanding, then the ones hurt wouldn't just be the elderly couple. Ni Tsuehua had always been curious to know what her biological parents looked like, and their reasons for abandoning her. Old Mistress Jiang choked back her sobs and said, We didn't mistake her. We didn't. Dia is our daughter. She's Tingting. Old man Jiang Jun, quickly show her the identification report. They have had misunderstandings in the past, which was why Old Mistress and Mr. Jiang were so cautious this time, waiting for the identification results before acknowledging their daughter. Old Mr. Jiang handed the report to Shangguan de Hui with trembling hands. Shangguan de Hui took the report and was shocked after reading it. So, Ni Tsuehua really was the biological daughter of Old Mr. and Mistress Jiang. Shangguan de Hui passed the report to Ni Tsuehua. Dia, Uncle Jiang and Aunt Jiang are your biological parents. Ni Tsuehua took the report and as she read the words on it, her eyes filled with tears. Chapter 746. Identification Result, Confirmed Biological. _5. She never dreamed that one day her biological parents would come looking for her in her lifetime. This all felt too surreal. Was she dreaming? My daughter, my poor daughter, I'm sorry. Mrs. Jiang hugged Ni Tsuehua again. Mr. Jiang stood to the side, wiping his tears. Why did you abandon me? Ni Tsuehua asked. This is probably the question deep in the hearts of every abandoned child. Why did they abandon her? Since they didn't want her, why did they give birth to her in the first place? Thinking back on her past, Enai Tsuehua felt an overwhelming sense of injustice. Her adoptive father had sold her cheaply to Mu Jinbao for money. At the Mu family, she had had her fill of life's bitterness. What? Now, seeing her biological parents, she just wanted to understand why. My child, I'm sorry, I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Zheng sobbed as she recounted the past. 35 years ago, life was not as prosperous as it is now. The nation was going through a turbulent period, and there was a shortage of talents. Mr. and Mrs. Zheng, due to their unique jobs, had to work 5,000 kilometers away from Beijing. At that time, Zheng Tingting was only 3 years old. The 3-year-old Tingting was very smart. Not only could she count to 100, but she could also recite 300 Tang poems. In her free time, Mrs. Zheng would also teach her English. Despite the tough living conditions in the mountainous region, the family of 3 was very happy. But their happiness was short-lived. One day, while Mrs. Zheng was taking Tingting to the temple fair, she got lost in the crowd. Mrs. Zheng was almost distraught and searched for 3 days and 3 nights without any sleep but still could not find Tingting. Mr. Zheng would never forget that day. The day he found his wife. Mrs. Zheng had been unrecognizable. Her once spotlessly clean appearance was now filthy and foul, covered in injuries. She constantly called out for Tingting's name, but she did not have any tears left to cry. Perhaps only those who have experienced it can understand a mother's heart. Mr. Zheng couldn't bear to blame her. After his job was done, he took Mrs. Zheng back to Beijing and hired a foreign psychologist to help her. Mrs. Zheng's condition improved until Jiang Yan brought Zheng Lingling across the Pacific Ocean to meet her. Both of them had lost a beloved daughter. Both of them had lost a family member. This shared suffering made Mrs. Zheng transfer all her love for her daughter to Zheng Lingling. But after that, Mrs. Zheng would visit the place where Tingting was lost every year. They never gave up looking for their daughter, but fate seemed to be constantly playing tricks on them. Fortunately, this time they finally found her. Tingting. My child, we are finally reunited as a family, thanks to God's will. We will never separate again, Mrs. Zheng sobbed till she lost her voice. The news about the Zheng family had caused quite a stir in Beijing years ago. Shengguan Dehui had heard bits and pieces of it. Dia, the situation is indeed as Aunt Zheng described. She did not lie. Upon Shengguan Dehui's confirmation, Enai Tsuehua let go of her doubts, hugged Mr. and Mrs. Zheng tightly and said, Mom. Dad. Tingting. My daughter. The elderly couple had waited so many years to hear these 2 words. The words Mom and Dad may seem simple. They consist of only 14 strokes in total. Probably only Mr. and Mrs. Zheng knew how much effort they had put in to hear this call of Mom and Dad. They had been through so many false alarms. After the old couple had slightly calmed down, Shengguan Dehui and Enai Tsuehua guided them to the living room. Mr. and Mrs. Zheng would hardly leave Enai Qihua's side for a moment. They both held Enai Qihua's hand on either side, as if afraid she would disappear the next second. The elderly couple surrounded Enai Tsuehua and talked to her about many things. Tingting, your full name is Zheng Tingting. Zheng from Zhengyi, and Ting is the Ting from Pingting, graceful. Your dad has 2 younger brothers, your uncles, and also you have an aunt called Zheng Suyu. She lives in our house. Enai Tsuehua felt very strange at this moment. Her surname was originally Zheng, and her previous name was Zheng Tingting. Besides her parents, she had other relatives. Oh yes, Tingting, there's one more important thing I have to tell you. Mrs. Zheng continued. You may speak. Mrs. Zheng was carefully choosing her words, then she said, After you were lost, I adopted a daughter who is 4 years older than you. Her name was Chao Lingrui, but she changed it to Zheng Lingling. Lingling's mom was your aunt, who was my only sister. Your aunt and her husband died in a plane crash, and only Lingling was left. Chapter 747. Identification result, confirmed biological. _6. She was afraid that Enai Tsuehua might take umbrage. After all, she had adopted Zheng Lingling shortly after Enai Tsuehua went missing. Yet after she explained, there were no particular changes on Enai Qihua's face. Because to her, Zheng Lingling has also been unfortunate, losing her parents at the age of 7. It was only natural that Zheng's grandmother, the only relative Lingling had in the world, had adopted her. Seeing Enai Tsuehua didn't blame her, Zheng's grandfather and grandmother breathed a sigh of relief. Zheng's grandfather continued, Child, you've heard your mother's story but we still don't know, how have you lived these years? I've been okay. Everything had happened a long time ago, and Enai Tsuehua didn't want to add to her parents' sadness. Dia had a very hard life. Shangguan Dehui suddenly interjected. When Dia was just a teenager, she was sold by her adoptive father to a family named Mu in a neighboring village. She had a horrible time there. The Muse abused her physically and verbally, blaming her for not delivering a son. They even discarded Dia's 3 newborn daughters, and then, since their marriage, there were hardly any secrets between Nai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui. Sometimes only the crying child will get the milk. What's more, these were all things Nai Tsuehua had personally experienced. The situation would seem grossly unfair to Nai Tsuehua if she just casually dismissed that past. Vastly unfair. Zheng's grandfather and grandmother, who had managed to stop crying, broke down again at this point. Tingting, my poor child. We have let you suffer all these years, it's all our fault. All our fault. If only we had found you sooner, you wouldn't have had to suffer like this. We're sorry. We're very sorry. The things that Shangguan Dehui said can be unbearable to hear, enough to make one's hair stand on end. Nobody knew how Nai Tsuehua had made it through all those years. Grandpa Zheng and Grandma Zheng felt utterly heartbroken. They were struggling. Nai Tsuehua comforting Zheng's grandfather and grandmother, "It's okay now. It's all over already, isn't it?" The atmosphere in the living room was somewhat heavy. When Nai Yang and Mo Qishan returned from the river with little Nai Yun, this was the sight that greeted them. They all wore coronets made of willow on their heads. "Yang Xiaoma, you're back," Nai Tsuehua wiped the tears from her face. "Come here, come." Nai Yang and Mo Qishan exchanged glances, both seeing confusion in each other's eyes. They walked over holding little Nai Yun. With a hoarse voice, Nai Tsuehua said, "Yang Yunyan, this is your grandfather and grandmother." Technically, Nai Yang should call Zheng's grandmother and grandfather, grandpa and grandma. But since the old couple didn't have a son of their own, according to custom, they should be addressed as grandfather and grandmother. Grandfather, grandmother? What's going on? Nai Yang was confused for a moment. Mo Qishan was also slightly taken aback. Little Nai Yun, however, held her arms open to Zheng's grandfather. "Grandpa, hold me." Zheng's grandfather took little Nai Yun with teary eyes. Yun. This was his own granddaughter. His own. Zheng's grandfather was extremely excited. Zheng's grandmother clutched Nai Yang's hand, her voice trembling with emotion. Good child, let grandma take a look at you. No wonder the first time I saw you, I felt so close to you. Darling, grandfather and grandmother finally found you." The 4 generations of the family held each other in a tight embrace. Their family was finally reunited. Nai Yang had a general idea of what was happening. It would seem that Zheng's grandfather and grandmother were Nai Quihua's biological parents. Sure enough, Shangguan Dehui's next words confirmed this. "Yang, Uncle Zheng and Aunt Zheng are your mother's biological parents." So it's true. Nai Tsuehua introduced Mo Qishan to Zheng's grandfather and grandmother. "Mom and Dad, this is Yang's boyfriend Xiaoma." Mo Qishan politely responded, "Grandfather Zheng, grandmother Zheng." Both Zheng family and Mo family were close friends, so the old couple knew Mo Qishan well. Technically, Mo Qishan should call them uncle and aunt. Addressing them as grandfather and grandmother felt somewhat strange. "Xiaoma." Zheng's grandmother smilingly said, "We didn't have time to prepare a red envelope today, we'll definitely make it up to you later." Even if this Mo Qishan was a bit useless. He was good-looking and gentle, not as bad as rumored. He and Nai Yang looked good together. And even if Mo Qishan were truly worthless, so what? Zheng family was wealthy enough to afford to keep Mo Qishan. Since Nai Yang liked him, then as elders they will certainly offer their full support. Zheng's grandfather and grandmother stayed with the Nai family until it was dark and then went home. They had initially wanted to take Nai Tsuehua and her family back to the Zheng household, but many preparations hadn't been made in advance, hence the old couple left first to get things ready. After all, their long-lost daughter was here, and wouldn't suddenly disappear again. They wanted to hold a grand family reunion ceremony. The old couple returned home with smiles on their faces. Zheng Lingling asked, "Mom, Dad, did something good happen?" Zheng's grandfather bragged, "Lingling, I've got some good news for you." "What good news?" Zheng Lingling asked in confusion. Zheng's grandfather couldn't wait to share the exciting news with Zheng Lingling. "Lingling, we've found your sister." "Sister?" Zheng Lingling's heart skipped a beat. Could it be Zheng Tingting? Zheng Tingting was not dead. Zheng Lingling still maintained a smile on her face, feigning surprise. "Is it Tingting?" Zheng's grandmother nodded with tears in her eyes. Yes. It's your sister Tingting. We finally found her after all these years." "What? Zheng Tingting is actually alive?" Zheng Lingling was struggling to keep her smile. Mom, Dad, are you sure? Don't let it be a false alarm like the last few times. These two old people. They just said a few days ago to Dr. Jiang that they wouldn't look for their biological daughter anymore. How come they found Zheng Tingting so quickly? She knew it, they never treated her as their own daughter from the start. Terrible. Just terrible. Zheng's grandmother said firmly, we won't be wrong this time, we absolutely won't. It's Tingting, my daughter? Suppressing her bitterness, Zheng Lingling continued, Mom, people are so fickle these days. There are so many people out there trying to associate with the powerful and wealthy. We must investigate everything thoroughly to avoid inviting the wolf into the house. By the way, have you done a paternity test? Who conducted it? Chapter 748. Recognize relatives. _1 Zheng Lingling felt extremely upset. If Zheng Tingting were really found and brought back, what would happen to her and Zheng Xianjing? The return of Zheng Tingting would mean she is coming back to fight for the family inheritance. All these years, she had devotedly served these two old creatures, and this was the outcome she was facing. Mom, this is a big deal, we can't rush this. Zheng Lingling continued. There will be no mistake this time. We have already done the identification. She is my Tingting, my poor Tingting who suffered a lot in the past. As she spoke, the old lady Zheng burst into tears. Can I see the identification? Zheng Lingling asked next. The old man Zheng handed Zheng Lingling the identification papers. As she took the papers, she went pale in shock. She had thought that the old Mr. and Mrs. Zheng had merely found someone who looked like Zheng Tingting. She had never thought that these two old creatures had even got a parent-child identification done. If the identification had not been done, there might have been ways to salvage the situation. But now that it was done, what could she do? Zheng Lingling wished she could tear the paper to shreds right then and there. Mom, Dad, when did you get this identified? This is such a huge, joyous event. Why didn't you tell us about it? Zheng Lingling managed to keep her anger under control. When they went to Dr. Wang's to get the test, hadn't they already had Zheng Xianjing's hair replaced? When had they secretly gone again to get an identification done behind her back? Mrs. Zheng replied, we only got the result recently. Your father and I discussed it and we didn't tell you because we were afraid it would be a false alarm. I see. Zheng Lingling said concernedly, Mom, Dad, congrats on finding Tingting. Oh, by the way, where is Tingting now? Why didn't she come back with you? Mrs. Zheng continued, your sister Tingting is at home right now. Your father and I have discussed it and are planning to throw a grand party for her homecoming and formally recognize our ancestors. Zheng Lingling's jealous heart was near twisting as she said, yes, it's indeed a great occasion to find Tingting after so long. We should throw a big party. Mom, let me take care of the banquet this time, he'll make sure it's grand. Mrs. Zheng smiled and said, Lingling, your willingness is enough. For this family reunion, your father and I want to personally take charge. We owe Tingting so much, we want to make it up to her. Handling the event personally and leaving it to Zheng Lingling would carry different meanings. See, this was the difference between a biological daughter and an adopted daughter. Now that the biological daughter had come back, the adoption daughter had become as insignificant as a blade of grass. She was even deprived of the privileges of organizing the banquet. If only she could remember that all the banquets of the Zheng family, big or small, had always been organized by her. Zheng Lingling suppressed her feelings and kept a smiling face. That leaves you and Dad with all the work then. Alright, Mom, Dad, you haven't eaten yet, have you? I specifically asked the kitchen to save some food for you. They'll serve it to you upstairs now. Mrs. Zheng smiled and replied, you don't need to bother Lingling, your father and I already ate at Tingting's. The corners of Zheng Lingling's smile almost drooped. Alright then, Mom, Dad, you two should get some rest early. Mrs. Zheng nodded, you should also rest early, Lingling. Zheng Lingling returned to her third-floor bedroom, still smiling. As soon as she closed the door, her face changed. Her eyes were filled with malice. What's wrong? Who has upset you again? Zheng Lingling's husband, sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper, looked up at Zheng Lingling as she entered. Zheng Lingling's husband was named Sun Wu. As a son-in-law who had married into the family, he didn't have much presence in the Zheng family. Zheng Lingling said angrily, you're still in the mood to read the newspaper, we won't have a foothold in the Zheng family soon. What happened? Sun Wu put down his newspaper. They found their biological daughter. Zheng Lingling said. Sun Wu was surprised. They actually found her? Would I joke about such a thing? Zheng Lingling was so angry, everything was irritating her. Sun Wu continued, this is unbelievable. She's been missing for 35 years and they found her. Where did they find her? They hid it so well, I hadn't heard a word beforehand. Sun Wu had never thought that Zheng Tingting, who had been missing for 35 years, could be found. Zheng Lingling got even angrier as she listened, and she grabbed a pillow and threw it at Sun Wu. Mother! You're still calling her mother. Do you think she considers you as her son-in-law? Just wait. Once her biological daughter comes back, our whole family will end up living under a bridge. Chapter 749. Recognize Family. _2. Sun Wu put the pillow on the sofa, then said, "It shouldn't be that serious, right? They're pretty nice to us usually, you're just overthinking things." As he finished speaking, Sun Wu continued, "By the way, what kind of family was your sister living in before? What's their situation like?" "I haven't had a chance to ask," Zheng Lingling said then. "The only reason those two old folks treated us well before was because they hadn't found their own daughter, and they were counting on us to take care of them in their old age. Now that they've found their biological daughter, who are we to them?" At these words, Sun Wu squinted his eyes. "From what you're saying, it seems the matter is quite serious. So what should we do now? They wouldn't really throw us out of the house, would they? Logically, a foster daughter wouldn't be as important as a biological one." Zheng Lingling's worries were not without reason. Zheng Lingling stood up from the sofa. "No way. I need to find out exactly who Zheng Tingting is right now." She was determined to protect what was hers and not let anyone take it away. Only by understanding the enemy's situation can we win the next battle. "You're going out now?" Sun Wu was somewhat surprised. As Zheng Lingling put on her coat and walked out, she said, "I might be back very late, you go to sleep first. By the way, make a call to Xianxia school later and ask her to come back tomorrow." "Okay." Sun Wu nodded. Zheng Lingling left in the middle of the night. Upstairs, Grandpa Zheng and Grandma Zheng were discussing how to hold the reunion. That night, some were joyful, some were worried. And some stayed awake all night. The Mo family. Upon hearing of this, Grandfather Mo and Grandmother Mo were both stunned. "Sixth brother, is it true? Is your mother-in-law really Auntie Zheng's biological daughter?" Grandmother Mo asked. Mo Qixin nodded. "It's true." Grandmother Mo then said, "No wonder I thought your mother-in-law looked familiar before, I even mentioned it to your father. Previously it was only a guess, who could have imagined that Enai Tsuehua was indeed Mrs. Zheng's daughter." After speaking, Grandmother Mo continued, "Since your mother-in-law is Auntie Zheng's daughter, you can't call her Auntie Zheng anymore, you should call her Grandma like Yang. Grandfather Mo said, "With this, our generations have all moved down a notch. With Mo Qixin and Enai Yang together, they and Enai Tsuehua became peers, and Grandfather Zheng and Grandmother Zheng were one generation ahead of them." Grandmother Mo chuckled, "Let the kids call their own, we will call our own. It's not mixed at all." After all these years, Aching has finally found Tingting. It's been a tough journey. Grandmother Mo was genuinely happy for Grandfather Zheng and Grandmother Zheng. She had been sisters with Grandmother Zheng for a lifetime and she knew how hard her life had been. Now things are starting to turn around. After they finished talking about the Zheng family, Grandmother Mo looked at Mo Qixin and said, "Sixth brother, you won't leave again after you get back this time, right?" Mo Qixin took a sip of tea. "Once I finish dealing with Yang Yang's family business, he'll have to take a trip to F country." "Going to F country again?" Grandmother Mo continued, "Isn't our China good? Why do you always run to F country? You hardly stay at home all year round, aren't you afraid that your wife will run off with someone else?" Mo Qixin laughed, "Don't worry, Yang Yang is not that kind of person." Grandmother Mo sighed, "Sixth brother, in the future just stay at home honestly, don't go anywhere. We may not have many assets but we can more than afford to keep you." Grandmother Mo was sincerely worried. Mo Qixin was already 29 this year, and still had nothing to his name, and a bad reputation to boot. Grandfather Mo was also worried, and Yang was getting better and better, and he feared that Mo Qixin would not be able to keep up. "Your mother is right, you're also not young anymore, you should stop running around in the future, stay honest in Beijing. They'll let Baichuan get you a small position at the company, it's time to settle down." Upon hearing this, Mo Qixin rubbed his temples helplessly. "Mom, Dad, I'm okay, I have my own business, I don't need Baichuan's help." Grandfather Mo knocked his pipe on the coffee table. "We are your parents, would we look down on you?" Fearing that she had hurt Mo Qixin's pride, Grandmother Mo quickly started appeasing him. "Let's drop it, since the kid doesn't want Baichuan's help, let's not bother Baichuan." Chapter 750. Recognize Family. _3. Old Master Mo sighed. Dad, Mom, I'm going to rest upstairs first, continued Imo-chishin. Go ahead. Old Madam Imo nodded. Wait a sec. Old Master Imo spoke up again. Imo-chishin turned his head. What's up, Dad? Take this. Old Master Imo handed Imo-chishin something. Looking at it, Imo-chishin saw it as a bank card. Dad, I'm not strapped for cash now, Imo-chishin returned the card to Old Master Imo. As Old Master Imo kept a straight face, he said, if I want you to keep it, you keep it. You've been with Xianxia recently, don't scrimp when you're out. Spend when you should spend, don't worry, we've enough money at home. Dad, I'm really not short of money. Imo-chishin placed the card back on the coffee table and turned to head upstairs. Imo-chishin didn't have a job, nor did he have any savings, so how could it be possible that he wasn't short of money? Old Master Imo picked up the card intending to follow Imo-chishin, but he caught sight of Xiao-ying in the corner of the living room, drinking water from a cup shed filled at the water cooler. Xiao-ying had moved into the Imo family home about 4 months ago, and had never left. Seeing Xiao-ying, Old Master Imo had a pretty good idea of what was happening. Imo-chishin was probably afraid of being ridiculed by Xiao-ying, and was trying to hold on his last bit of dignity. The kid really had a rough. It was his oversight. Old Master Imo sighed, holding the bank card. He slumped back onto the sofa. Xiao-ying, over here, had a look of disdain on her face. How old was Imo-chishin? And he actually had the nerve to ask his family for money. She wasn't fooled by his claims of not being short of money or having his own business. She didn't believe a word of it. She was no longer the naive little girl she used to be. In fact, Imo-chishin's reason for doing this was simple. He wanted to attract her attention. He wanted her to fall in love with him. Wasn't this just typical of men? Even though they have a girlfriend, they still flirt around. Did they really think they could deceive her that easily? He was pathetic, thinking he could deceive her? In his dreams. Did he really think she was that naive individual businesswoman, Yang? Did he think he could make her run around in circles like he did with Yang? She was going to be the wife of Mr. Mog. The Imo family was a prestigious family. How did they end up with someone like Imo-chishin? A prodigal son? Such family misfortune. Xiao-ying quickened her pace, walking ahead of Imo-chishin. She hoped that this could serve as a warning to Imo-chishin, that she had heard every word he had just said. Imo-chishin should not harbor any illusions about deceiving her. Xiao-ying didn't even bother to take a second look at Imo-chishin. She walked past him haughtily. Zheng Lingling didn't get back home until 2 in the morning, and Sun Wu was still waiting for her. Why are you still up? Zheng Lingling was somewhat surprised. Am I not waiting for you? Said Sun Wu. Oh yes, how is your investigation going? With such a big thing happening, how could he fall asleep? Zheng Lingling took off her coat. I found out everything. Sun Wu impatiently asked. So, what's the real story of your little sister? Zheng Lingling laughed. She's just a country girl named Enai Tsuehua, even a divorcee, with 2 burdens at her side. A country girl? Hearing this, Sun Wu felt relieved. Countryside folks are naive and easy to deal with. In fact, upon learning that Enai Tsuehua was a country girl, Zheng Lingling also breathed a sigh of relief. Moreover, when Enai Tsuehua was in the country, she was married at 16 and knew not a word. She's illiterate. She scoffed. An illiterate girl isn't worthy of setting foot in the Zheng's house. Just wait and see. At the family reuniting ceremony, who knows what antics that country bumpkin will pull. Zheng Lingling squinted her eyes. He'll show that old hag exactly who is suitable to be her real daughter. What do you plan to do? Asked Sun Wu. Zheng Lingling grinned. Making a big illiterate country girl embarrass herself is just the easiest thing in the world. Sun Wu nodded. You're right. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. These days, Old Master and Old Madam Zheng had been hard at work preparing for the family reuniting ceremony. Old Master Zheng had written numerous invitations, inviting all the relatives that had any connection with the Zhengs. Not only that, Old Master and Old Madam Zheng had also booked over 600 tables in Beijing's top 3 hotels, enough for everyone. The Zheng's house was festively decorated and filled with joy. Watching all of these, Zheng Lingling was burning with jealousy inside. The love one gets for being a biological child is simply irreplaceable. Chapter 751. Recognize Family. _4. Even though Enai Tsuehua was just a country bumpkin who couldn't show her face in public, Venerable Mr. Zheng and Mrs. Zheng still liked her so much. Back in the day when she and Sun Wu got married, the Zheng family didn't celebrate as grandly as they are now. It really is infuriating to compare oneself to others. Mom, Do you think Grandma will really transfer half of our family's assets to her biological daughter? She overheard it clearly from outside the door. Split it in half? Zheng Lingling pulled the corners of her mouth. If you were her, would you split half of your assets with a stranger instead of leaving it all to your biological daughter? Mrs. Zheng's words were just for show. She had figured it out. There was not a single truth in this old hag's mouth. She had claimed that she had given up, that she would not search for her biological daughter any longer, yet the moment she turned her back she had found her biological daughter. Now they had even arranged a family reunion. Hearing this, Zheng Xianjing shook her head. No. She added, but we've been so good to her. That biological daughter of hers has been missing for who knows how many years, hasn't done anything, and you've been so devoted to our grandparents. How dare she come in and try to take our things? Because that country bumpkin is her own daughter, replied Zheng Lingling. I wonder if, after today's public humiliation, Mrs. Zheng will still like her biological daughter as much as before. Thinking of this, a glimmer of satisfaction crossed the depths of Zheng Lingling's eyes. Today was the family reunion, and guests began to arrive one after another at the Zheng residence. Everyone was looking forward to seeing the Zheng family's long-lost daughter, missing for 35 years for the first time. Zheng Lingling and her daughter Zheng Xianjing stood at the entrance, warmly welcoming the guests. The more elegantly and graciously they behaved, the cruder and more vulgar Enai Tsuehua, the country bumpkin, would seem in contrast. Enai Tsuehua, herself a country farmer's wife, undoubtedly had two country bumpkin daughters. How could these two country bumpkin girls compare with Zheng Xianjing, who had been nurtured by wealth since childhood? Zheng Xianjing was a distinguished phoenix. They couldn't even match up to little sparrows. Lingling. Just then a familiar voice sounded through the air. Zheng Lingling looked up and saw that it was the venerable Mr. and Mrs. Mo, Aunt Mo. Zheng Lingling greeted politely, just realizing that Mo Qishan had also come. What was Mo Qishan doing here? The Mo family wasn't aiming for Zheng Xianjing, right? Mo Qishan was 29 this year, a suitable age for marriage. However, the Mo family should understand, even if they considered it with their toenails, that Mo Qishan is not good enough for Zheng Xianjing. Mo Qishan doesn't even deserve to carry Zheng Xianjing's shoes. A toad lusting after swan meat. Distaste flickered in Zheng Lingling's eyes as she smiled and ushered the Mo family into the house. Aunt Mo, Uncle Mo, please come in. Mrs. Mo said with a smile. Lingling, you'll have to stop calling me Aunt Mo soon. Why? Zheng Lingling asked. Mrs. Mo replied with a smile, because of difference in familial seniority. Technically we're of the same generation. Your mother even outranks me. After all, her son was going to marry the granddaughter of Mrs. Zheng. The remark made Zheng Lingling feel a sudden jolt in her heart. Damn it. Could it be that the two old folks had already agreed to Mo Qishan's proposal for Zheng Xianjing? What's the meaning of this? Does this mean that since Zheng Xianjing isn't their biological granddaughter, she should be married to a wastrel? Why should it be so? How dare Mrs. Zheng bypass her and make this decision on behalf of Zheng Xianjing? She wouldn't accept it no matter what. Zheng Lingling's features almost contorted, her smiling expression gradually faded. She didn't even want to bother with Mrs. Mo anymore. Noticing a shift in Zheng Lingling's demeanor, Mrs. Mo frowned slightly. Zheng Lingling always seemed pleasant in her memories. But today Zheng Lingling came across as something of an ingrate. It was a great difficulty for Mrs. Zheng to find her biological daughter. Why was Zheng Lingling being such a sour face about it? Even if she was unhappy, she shouldn't show it. The venerable Mr. and Mrs. Zheng soon emerged to welcome the guests. Erwin. People certainly look fresher when they have good news. That day, the venerable Mr. and Mrs. Zheng were full of vigor, looking almost a decade younger. Aching, congratulations. Mrs. Mo said, smiling. Thank you. Mrs. Zheng beamed. Mrs. Mo then asked, by the way, where's Ting Ting? Chapter 752, Recognize Family, _5. They haven't arrived yet. You all can come in first. Mrs. Zheng continued, Zheng Jun and I have consulted with someone to calculate the timing. They should be here promptly at 10:30 in the morning, which is just half an hour from now. Mrs. Mo teased, Aching, didn't you used to hate feudal superstitions? When did you start believing in this? When a person is alone, they can fear nothing and believe in nothing, utterly unrestrained. However, as soon as one has attachments, the fear starts creeping in. You love to tease people. Mrs. Zheng laughed. Mrs. Mo looked at Mrs. Zheng and sighed, Aching, it has been over 30 years since I last saw you laugh so freely. The smile remained on Mrs. Zheng's face. Isn't that the truth? In the blink of an eye, over 30 years have passed. Mrs. Mo looked at Mr. Zheng, feigning surprise. Eh? Zheng Jun, how have you managed to make time to come out of your mini skyscraper today? Aren't you tending to your beloved plants? Mr. Zheng chuckled awkwardly. The group of them, laughing and chatting, entered the house. Zheng Lingling, standing outside the door, felt the anger pressing down in her heart. She couldn't muster a smile for anyone she met. Lingling, what's the matter with you? This is a day of joy, why are you wearing such a serious expression? A reproachful voice filled the air. Aunt Jiang. Seeing Dr. Jiang, the anger on Zheng Lingling's face lessened slightly. She pushed Jing Xianjing, standing beside her. Xianjing, didn't you see your Jiang grandma has arrived? Hello, Grandma Jiang. Jing Xianjing responded casually. Dr. Jiang's face was filled with affection. Good girl? Dr. Jiang said earnestly. Lingling, today is a joyful day for your family. What's with this long face you're pulling? If others who aren't aware of the situation see this, they might think you hate your soon-to-be sister. If your mother hears about this, what will she think? Problems can be sorted out after the reunion ceremony today. You're a good child, you can't embarrass your parents. These words from Dr. Jiang seemed to awaken Zheng Lingling, who promptly responded, Yes, Aunt Jiang, I understand. Having said that, a smile returned to her face. Dr. Jiang nodded in satisfaction. Lingling, as long as you understand. Has your sister arrived? Not yet. Zheng Lingling shook her head. Oh. Dr. Jiang glanced at the guests coming and going, then I'll go in first. Other than Zheng Lingling, Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao, the two brothers, were also having trouble addressing their feelings about Zheng Tingting's return. With nobody to succeed Mr. Zheng by default, the duo would inherit the family fortune. But now, Zheng Tingting has actually returned. Zheng Tingting is the one with the real Zheng family bloodline. From the moment the two brothers walked in the door with their families, their faces were long. Zheng Lingling enthusiastically welcomed them. Uncle 2, Aunt 2, Uncle 3, Aunt 3, please come inside. Ingyue, I barely recognized you two after such a long time. Truly, a girl can change a lot when she grows up. You're both more beautiful than ever. Zheng Ingyue and Zheng Yingmei are Zheng Sheng's second and third daughters, respectively. Zheng Gao only has one son, Zheng Mingming. Everyone loves flattery. Hearing it, Zheng Ingyue and Zheng Yingmei beamed. Thank you for the compliment, cousin. But Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao were unable to muster a smile. With solemn expressions they went into the house. Shortly after, smiles returned to their faces. Because they heard some news. This niece they've never met before is a country bumpkin, she can't even read. Even if Mrs. Zheng and Mr. Zheng were to hand her all their assets, she probably won't be able to hold on to them. When that time comes, the Zheng family fortune will naturally return to its rightful owners. Maybe this country girl will even embarrass herself later. Soon after, Mrs. Shangguan also arrived. Zheng Lingling only had information on Ni Tsuehua and had no knowledge of the connection between Ni Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui. Seeing Mrs. Shangguan, a trace of surprise flashed in Zheng Lingling's eyes. The Shangguan family usually doesn't interact much with the Zheng family. How did Mrs. Shangguan also end up here? It appears that these two resilient old folks are really going to great lengths for their biological daughter. 15 minutes left till 10:30. Mr. and Mrs. Zheng, Mr. and Mrs. Mo, and Mrs. Shangguan all stood by the door. The servants were standing by with firecrackers and fireworks, ready to celebrate the special occasion. Chapter 753. Recognize Family. _6. Zheng Lingling, Sun Wu, and Zheng Xianjing stood next to Mrs. Zheng, all their eyes looking in the same direction not too far away. Zheng Xianjing couldn't wait to see those country bumpkins. She was even more hoping that these country bumpkins would make fools of themselves. Perhaps those country bumpkins would not even be able to speak standard Mandarin. Thinking about this, Zheng Xianjing's eyes were filled with disdain. At this moment, two black cars slowly appeared in everyone's sight. Mrs. Zheng tightly held Mr. Zheng's hand, excitedly said, "They're coming. They're coming." Bang bang bang. The sound of firecrackers and fireworks echoed in the air. The black cars stopped one after another. The servants immediately ran over to open the car doors. A couple came out of the first car. The woman had an exquisite appearance, making it difficult to tell her real age. The man next to her was tall, wearing glasses, emitting a scholarly fragrance, and holding a child about 2 to 3 years old in his arms. This couple is Shangguan Dehui. This was Shangguan Dehui, but who was the woman standing next to him? This was clearly the Zheng family's reunion event. What was Shangguan Dehui doing here? For a moment, Zheng Lingling was a bit taken aback. The second car brought out 2 men and 2 women. Among them 3 were young people and a middle-aged woman who looked to be in her 40s or 50s. Zheng Xianjing recognized 2 of them as Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi. The person in the middle with outstanding looks and cool temperament was unmistakably Ni Yang. Ni Yang? Why was she here too? She didn't recognize the middle-aged woman. Each one of these people was extraordinary, not one resembled the rural folk she had imagined in her mind. What on earth was happening? By the time the mother and daughter could react, Mr. and Mrs. Zheng were already introducing them to everyone. Lingling, Sun Wu, this is your sister Tingting, this is your brother-in-law Shangguan Dehui, and this is Tingting's sworn sister Qinggue. You must thank Qinggue who has taken care of your sister over these past 2 years in Beijing. Initially, Ni Qinggue didn't plan on coming, but Ni Tsuehua insisted that she should. Ni Tsuehua is not an ungrateful person. Since she decided to treat Ni Qinggue as her sister, she would treat her as sister for the rest of her life. Hearing this, Zheng Lingling was stunned. Zheng Lingling had expected to see a coarse and ugly rural woman, but reality had given her a hard slap on the face. The country bumpkin in her eyes turned out to be Shangguan Dehui's wife. And she was so beautiful. Sister Tingting, brother-in-law, and Sister Qingye, nice to meet you. Zheng Lingling tried to calm down and greeted them with a smile. Ni Tsuehua said with a smile, Sister Lingling, thank you and brother-in-law for taking care of Mom all these years. You have worked hard. Taking care of Mom is my responsibility, Sister Tingting, you're too polite. Is this Ni Tsuehua already itching to assert her authority? At that moment, Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes, as if she had suddenly remembered something. That's right. She seemed to have seen Ni Tsuehua before. It was 2 years ago during the New Year. The memories in Zheng Lingling's mind became clearer and clearer. No wonder when she first laid eyes on Ni Tsuehua and her daughter, she had a vague sense of impending crisis. 2 years ago, when Ni Tsuehua had just arrived in Beijing, she exuded a certain shabbiness that betrayed her humble origins. That must have been why Zheng Lingling didn't give her any importance. Unexpectedly, in the span of 2 years, there had been such a tremendous change in Ni Tsuehua. If she had known, she wouldn't have allowed Ni Tsuehua the chance to stay in Beijing. She was full of regret. Zheng Lingling looked at the radiant Ni Tsuehua, her regret so deep it was as if her intestines were turning green. Ni Qinggue watched Zheng Lingling, his brows furrowed subtly. Zheng Lingling seemed enthusiastic, but her words were far from cordial. It appeared he needed to warn Ni Tsuehua. Madame Zheng then introduced Zheng Xianjing to everyone. Xianjing, this is your oldest cousin, Xiaoshu, this is your cousin Xiaoxi, this is your second cousin Yang Yang, and this little one in my arms is your youngest cousin Yun Yun. Zheng Xianjing never expected that Ni Yang would turn out to be her cousin. Even more surprising was the fact that Ni Yang's mother was Madame Zheng's long-lost daughter. What right did a small-time trader like Ni Yang have to be her cousin? Zheng Xianjing was extremely uncomfortable, but she still put on a polite smile and greeted everyone, cousin, cousin, second cousin, little cousin. Ni Yang, who had previously engaged with Zheng Xianjing a few times, knew that Zheng Xianjing wasn't as gentle and kind as she appeared, smiling said, Cousin, we meet again. Shangguan, she exclaimed in surprise, Yang Yang, you've met Xianjing before? Ni Yang nodded, a few times. Shangguan, she replied, that really is fate. Ni Yang's mouth teased into a modest smile, indeed it is fate. Zheng Xianjing clenched her hands tightly hidden inside her sleeves. Was Ni Yang deliberately provoking her? Just then Madame Zheng led Imo Qishan over. Look at my forgetful brain, there's one more person I need to introduce. Lingling, this is Yang Yang's boyfriend. Imo Qishan stood next to Ni Yang, politely greeting everyone. Initially he and Zheng Lingling were of the same generation, but now he was a generation lower and had to call Zheng Lingling auntie. Upon hearing this, half of the anger that Zheng Lingling had suppressed in her heart instantly vanished. So this useless Imo Qishan was Ni Yang's boyfriend. A broken donkey covered in a straw mat also needs a good saddle, it seems. Hearing this, scorn flashed in Zheng Xianjing's eyes. So what if Ni Yang was beautiful? In the end, Shed still ended up with that useless Imo Qishan. The group then entered the hall. The Zheng family's relatives all gathered around. They were all extremely curious about what Madame Zheng's daughter, who had been missing for over 30 years, looked like. They were especially intrigued upon hearing that Zheng Tingting had grown up in the countryside and was illiterate. Yet, the family before them didn't look like they were from the countryside at all. Ni Yang followed behind Madame Zheng, quickly recognizing all her great-aunts and uncles. When everyone learned that Imo was Ni Yang's boyfriend, they had complicated expressions in their eyes. But Ni Yang didn't mind at all, and neither did Imo. "Mom, what are we going to do now?" Zheng Xianjing went to Zheng Lingling's side and asked in a low voice. They were originally waiting to see Ni Cuihua make a fool of herself in front of everyone. But Ni Cuihua's elegance, poise, and outstanding demeanor made it impossible for them to find fault with her. Zheng Lingling patted Zheng Xianjing's hand and reassured her in a whisper, "Even if a bumpkin is wrapped in a bowtie skin, no matter how well she behaves, she is still an illiterate bumpkin inside. Don't worry, the good show is yet to begin." Chapter 754, Self-Inflicted _ 1 Zheng Xianjing watched Ni Yang, who was surrounded by the crowd, a strong tint of jealousy flashing in her eyes. She just couldn't keep it down. Ni Yang was too exceptional. She was merely wearing a plain white cheongsam with a light purple coat draped over it, but she still managed to dazzle everyone. Zheng Xianjing had even heard such comments. The Zheng family's own granddaughter is really different. Even though she grew up in the countryside, her temperament is still so good. Can anyone compare to the real family? Exactly. This legitimate Zheng family's Missy is really beautiful. It seems that the weather in Sijio City is going to change again. Everyone was focused on Ni Cuihua and her daughter Ni Yang, who more noticed the Zheng family's adopted daughters, Zheng Lingling and Zheng Xianjing. The more Zheng Xianjing listened, the uneasy she felt. It was unbearable. On the first day Ni Yang returned, she stole all her limelight. If this continued, how could she ever have a future in the Zheng family? Despicable woman. Despicable woman. After all, she was the only granddaughter of the Zheng family. "Xianjing, don't worry." Zheng Lingling took Zheng Xianjing's hand. "Mother won't let them steal what belongs to us, no matter if it's Ni Yang or Ni Cuihua. They are not qualified to compete with you, they are merely stepping stones for you." "Yes." Zheng Xianjing nodded, feeling a bit better. "Lingling." Dr. Jiang appeared behind Zheng Lingling unknowingly. "Aunt Jiang." Zheng Lingling quickly composed herself. Dr. Jiang looked at the vibrant Mrs. Zheng in the distance and asked, "The medicine I gave you last time, have you been giving it to your mother these days?" "I have." Zheng Lingling nodded, "I gave it to her personally." Dr. Jiang smiled and said, "Well, then the medicine is really effective, your mother seems much better." Zheng Lingling turned her gaze to Mrs. Zheng. Among the crowd, Mrs. Zheng was laughing and chatting with everyone, without even panting. Everyone knew that previously Mrs. Zheng had a persistent cough, which would flare up just from speaking a single sentence. These days Mrs. Zheng's condition has shown unbelievable improvement. Zheng Lingling's eyes narrowed, yet she still smiled and said, "Thanks to Aunt Jiang's remarkable medical skills. Otherwise, my mother wouldn't have recovered so quickly." Dr. Jiang modestly laughed. Halfway into the banquet, it was time for the dance session. The waltz music flowed gently around the hall. Old Mrs. Zheng smiled and said, "You youngsters go dance, I'm too old to join the fun." Zheng Lingling chuckled as she approached Mrs. Zheng. "Mother, you are wrong. Being the star of tonight, Tingting should be the one to dance the opening dance." Ni Cuihua had grown up in the countryside and only married Shangguan Dehui 3 months ago. Asking Ni Cuihua to perform the opening dance was Zheng Lingling's devious plan to make her look foolish. As an uncultured country woman with no place in high society, Ni Cuihua would surely make a spectacle of herself on the dance floor. "Since sister is so kind, we won't refuse." Shangguan Dehui led Ni Cuihua to the center of the dance floor. As the music played, they began to dance. Not only could Ni Cuihua dance, but also she danced very elegantly. One after another, applause echoed around them. Thunderous. Watching Ni Cuihua in disbelief, Zheng Lingling's face twisted almost beyond recognition. She could actually dance. A country woman could actually dance. "Yang, shall we dance too?" Imo extended his hand towards Ni Yang. "Sure." Ni Yang took off her coat and placed her hand in Imo Kishin's. With beautiful, elegant dancing steps, the graceful waist of hers seemed to be made of willow, boneless and delicate. Such a dance performance, even professional dancers couldn't compare. This beautiful dance, contrasted with the cheongsam, was unique throughout the city. That woman in the cheongsam is old Mrs. Zheng's biological granddaughter, right? Yes, it's her. Oh my gosh, she is amazing. She's way prettier than Zheng Xianjing. Listening to these words, Zheng Xianjing squeezed her fists and trembled in rage. Why Ni Yang? Why could she take away all her glory? Mother, didn't you say we could watch them make a fool of themselves? Zheng Xianjing approached Zheng Lingling, grinding her teeth as she spoke. Zheng Lingling was also extremely upset, her face alternating between green and white. How was she to know that Nai Tsuehua could actually dance? Could it be taught by Shangwan Dehui? Did she just lose what she tried to steal? Chapter 755, Self-Inflicted Underscrew. Zheng Lingling could not help but despise herself for letting Nai Tsuehua open the dance floor. Mom, what should we do now? Zheng Xianjing then asked. With such a grand kinship identification party held today, where could their family of three ever stand in the future? Don't act rashly, just watch for changes. Zheng Lingling suppressed the anger in her heart. Having struggled for so many years in the upper class, Zheng Lingling certainly knew that she couldn't be too impulsive at such a time. Sometimes being too impulsive could not only fail to achieve one's goal, but also bring trouble to oneself. Zheng Xianjing bit her lip. Are we just going to let them take center stage? She simply found it unbearable. Usually, when the Zheng family hosted banquets, many eligible bachelors would invite her to dance and then take the opportunity to strike up a conversation. But today, not a single person came over to invite her to dance. Not to mention striking up a conversation. With Nai Yang, the legitimate granddaughter of the Zheng family present, what did she, the daughter of an adopted daughter, amount to? Zheng Xianjing grew increasingly indignant. She wanted to smash the wine glass she was holding. At this moment, Nai Yang passed by her. The person accompanying Nai Yang was a well-known socialite from Beijing. Back when she was the only granddaughter of the Zheng family, at every Zheng family banquet, this woman would hover after her. But in the blink of an eye, her object of flattery had turned into Nai Yang. Zheng Xianjing, glancing at the blooming smile on Nai Yang's face, squinted. Nai Yang was wearing a cheongsam and a pair of silver-white high heels. If she fell by accident, her position would definitely be very ungraceful. Zheng Xianjing cornered her lips, holding her wine glass, and quietly stretched out her right foot. Nai Yang seemed not to see Zheng Xianjing's small action, her eyebrows and eyes as usual. While talking to the socialite next to her, she kept walking forward. At this moment, thud. Zheng Xianjing stumbled and fell flat on the ground, her red wine spilling all over the floor. The previously lively banquet hall quieted down. Everyone's eyes were looking in this direction. A banquet was a solemn occasion. Everyone's every word and action were extremely careful. They cared greatly about their image. There was never someone like Zheng Xianjing who couldn't even walk properly. Who is that person who fell? Today there are those who are pleased and those who are downtrodden. She is the daughter of the Zheng family's adopted daughter. In public, really quite embarrassing. Understand, her heart must be unpleasant right now. It's normal for her to lose her cool. Alas, there really is a difference between one's own and not one's own. The voices of the crowd drilled into Zheng Xianjing's ears incessantly. She lay on the ground, her hands tightly gripping the carpet, her knuckles already turning slightly white. Clearly, the one who should be embarrassed was Nai Yang, so why had she become the one lying on the ground? Just then, a fair and graceful hand stretched out in front of Zheng Xianjing. The nails were neatly trimmed, translucent with a faint hint of pink. They looked very nice. Sister Xianjing, how could you be so careless? Get up quickly. Zheng Xianjing looked up and caught sight of a face as white as jade. It was Nai Yang. The person who had just made her stumble and made a fool of herself was surely Nai Yang. Nai Yang, this little bitch. What was she doing now? Was she demonstrating her power to her? Zheng Xianjing's face turned whiter and whiter as she stared at Nai Yang. Sister Xianjing, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? A faint smile spread across Nai Yang's face, her eyes shimmering with concern. This stirred up a lot of speculation among the people around them. Zheng's grandmother's attention was quickly drawn to the anomaly here. At this moment, Zheng Xianjing had no choice but to swallow her pride. She handed her hand to Nai Yang. Thank you for your concern, little sister. I'm fine. That's good. Nai Yang helped Zheng Xianjing up, her tone indifferent. Sister Xianjing, be careful when you walk in the future. You were lucky today. If one day you happen to fall onto a chair or wall, you might not be so fortunate. That last line was both a hit and a warning. After finishing speaking, Nai Yang turned around and left. Zheng Xianjing looked up at Nai Yang's retreating figure. She knew that all of this was surely Nai Yang's doing. It was Nai Yang who made her look bad. Xianjing, what was that all about just now? Zheng Lingling walked over from the other side, her eyebrows and eyes filled with reproach. At such an important occasion, how could you lose your poise like that? She had originally arranged for Xianxia to shine today. Chapter 756, Self-Inflicted _3. Let everyone see that although Zheng Xianjing isn't of the Zheng family bloodline, she resembles the Zheng family more than the real blood members. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, Zheng Xianjing has been made such a big fool. It's an Yang's fault. It's all that little bitch. Zheng Xianjing's eyes turned red in grievance. Zheng Lingling slightly furrowed her brows, her eyes shifted from blame to heartache. I didn't expect an Yang to be so arrogant. It was just her first day back and she dared to openly bully Zheng Xianjing. Mom, you have to get revenge for me, Zheng Xianjing said. Zheng Lingling patted Zheng Xianjing's hand. Don't worry, there's plenty of time in the future. They'll first get you changed into a fresh set of clothes. Zheng Xianjing nodded. The people attending today's banquet were all prestigious figures in Beijing. Have you heard? Mr. Du from the south came to our Beijing not long ago. Mr. Du? Which Mr. Du? From the way you're talking, how many people are worthy of being called Mr. Du? After hearing that, the person gasped, is it Mr. Du from the 10 Miles Casino? Exactly. The master who rules the 10 Miles Casino. When Zheng Xianjing walked out after changing her clothes, she heard this conversation. She instinctively slowed down her steps. She also knew a bit about the Mr. Du from the 10 Miles Casino. She heard about him when she was sitting in the tea house, listening to the storytelling. Mr. Du was indeed a big shot who had risen from a sea of blood and carnage. It was said that he was over 30 this year without a wife or children, although he did have 2 concubines. In ancient times, having a concubine also meant having a mistress. Now the term concubine no longer exists in China. However, Mr. Du had long renounced his Chinese citizenship, so the monogamy law of China could not restrain him. Yet, such a man could become the head honcho of the 10 Miles Casino. There were many legends about Mr. Du, but few people had actually seen him. Zheng Xianjing didn't expect that Mr. Du would come to Beijing. If she had the chance to get close to him, it would certainly catch everyone's attention. Zheng Xianjing was lost in her thoughts. Although she wholeheartedly wanted to marry Mr. Mog, it wouldn't affect her mingling with other big shots. More so, if it's a major figure like Mr. Du, if she was able to marry Mr. Mog and make Mr. Du respect her, becoming a servant under her skirt, would anyone in Beijing still dare to look down on her? She was so beautiful, as long as she was given a chance to get close to Mr. Du, she could definitely catch his attention. Thinking this, Zheng Xianjing's steps became light and fluttery. After the banquet ended, Ai Cuihua and Ai Yang and their group didn't leave, but stayed at the Zheng family's house. The old madam wanted them to stay for a while. She had been separated from Ai Cuihua and her daughter for so many years, and now that they had finally recognized each other, it was of course time to reconnect. The old madam asked a servant to bring Zheng Suyu down from upstairs. Ting Ting, this is your Aunt Suyu. The old madam pulled on Zheng Suyu's hand, tears in her eyes. Suyu, Ting Ting has come back. Zheng Suyu laughed. Ting Ting, Ting Ting. What's up with Aunt? Seeing that Zheng Suyu's expression was a bit off, Ai Cuihua turned her head to look at the old madam. The old madam sighed. Your aunt received a shock many years ago, and her mental state hasn't been clear ever since. Ai Cuihua nodded. Shengguan Dehui looked at Zheng Suyu, his eyes full of disbelief. Years ago when he was still a child, he had seen Zheng Suyu a few times. At that time, Zheng Suyu was young and promising, a famous talent. She was always surrounded by a group of scholars, she was really high profile and was a legend in their circle. Who would have thought that things change over time? The talented woman of decades ago had now become like this. Now Zheng Suyu was disheveled, skinny, and had a vacant look in her eyes, her past glory nowhere to be seen. If not for seeing it with his own eyes, who would believe that this woman was once the highly talented figure of the past? Who knows what Zheng Suyu had really been through? Shengguan Dihui's eyes were full of pity. The old madam said again, Yang Yang Xiaoxi Xiaoshu, come over here and say hello to your great aunt. At her words, Ai Yang, Shengguan Shi and Shengguan Su came over. The three of them politely greeted their great aunt. Zheng Suyu began spinning excitedly, Ha! I'm a great aunt. I'm a great aunt. The great aunt is here. Suddenly her face turned pale as if she had seen something terrifying. She screamed in horror, Ah! A ghost. A ghost is coming to kill me. Please don't kill me. Let me go. Chapter 757, Self-Inflicted _4. Ah! Let go of me. Let me go. Zhang Suyu started running around the living room, as if something was really chasing her from behind. The furnishings in the room were knocked about by her, falling to the ground with a clatter. It was Shangguanzai's first time encountering such a patient, and she was so scared that she hid behind Shangguansu. Zhang Suyu in this state was indeed somewhat frightening. Little Nai Yun stopped playing with his toys and ran to Shangguan Dehui, asking him for a hug. Old Mrs. Zheng hurriedly said to a servant, "Mama Wu, quickly bring Suyu's sedative, we don't want her to scare the children." Zheng Suyu's condition would fluctuate, sometimes failing to recognize even her own family during her fits, at times even resorting to violence. This was also why old Mrs. Zheng did not let her attend the banquet today. Mama Wu quickly went upstairs to get the medicine. Zheng Xianjing leaned against the railing on the third floor, watching the scene unfold below with a look of anticipation and excitement. Let the chaos ensue. I hope Zheng Suyu will lose her mind and kill everyone downstairs. Just then Anai Yang looked up and suddenly made eye contact with Zheng Xianjing upstairs. Their eyes met, hers were bright, yet wild. Zheng Xianjing felt inexplicably flustered and hastily looked away. Anai Yang narrowed her eyes slightly, a thought flickering in the depths. Zheng Xianjing. What was she panicking about? Just then a pair of hands tightly clamped onto Anai Yang's shoulders, violently shaking her. "You're a ghost. You're a ghost. I'm going to kill you." Everyone in the room was startled by Zheng Suyu's action. However, looking at Anai Yang, there was no trace of panic in her face. She grabbed Zheng Suyu's wrist with one hand, and with the other took a golden needle from her acupuncture bag and gently pricked Zheng Suyu's Laogong acupoint. "Madam, please calm down." The next second, Zheng Suyu indeed quieted down. Anai Yang sat Zheng Suyu down on the sofa and asked, Granny Zheng's illness is acquired, right?" "Right." Old Mrs. Zheng nodded. Old Master Zheng suddenly thought of Anai Yang's impressive medical skills and asked, Yang, do you believe you can help Granny Zheng regain her sanity?" Anai Yang shook her head. In her previous life she hadn't studied mental illnesses, but she knew for certain that her master would have a solution. Anai Yang squinted, thinking about when she could visit her master. In this life her senior brother had not met an ill fate, and her master and his wife must be living happily. Old Master Zheng then asked, "So how did you calm Granny Zheng down?" Just a moment ago, Zheng Suyu was terribly agitated, and the next she quieted down. Even with regular medicine the effect wouldn't be so immediate. Anai Yang held up Zheng Suyu's right hand. "This is the Laogong acupoint. Inserting a golden needle into this point has a calming effect." Since ancient times, the Laogong acupoint has been known to medical experts as a crucial point for treating mental and heart diseases. Acupuncture on it could alleviate conditions such as depression, irritability, and nervous breakdowns. The hope in old Master Zheng's eyes dimmed. "So that's how it is." Anai Yang added, "Grandpa, don't worry. Since Granny Zheng's disease is acquired, there must surely be a cure." Old Master Zheng nodded. Just then Zheng Lingling came down from upstairs, laughing as she said, "Children, I have prepared your rooms, come with me." Shangguan Shi and Shangguan Su did not originally intend to stay at the Zheng family's house. But today was the first day that Anai Tsuehua had returned to her ancestry. If they didn't stay over even for a night, it might invite unnecessary gossip from outsiders, so they decided to stay. "Thank you, Auntie," Anai Yang politely thanked them. The three of them followed Zheng Lingling upstairs. The room of Anai Tsuehua was personally prepared by old Mrs. Zheng at the top floor where the lighting was the best. The room was always reserved for Anai Tsuehua. In the evening, Anai Yang lay in bed, unable to sleep despite tossing and turning. Seemingly peaceful on the surface, the Zheng family concealed a crisis within. For example, the illness of old Master and old Mrs. Zheng. Why were they chronically ill? Why were toxins present in their bodies? Also, Zheng Suyu, what led to Suyu's madness? Was there something hidden beneath all this? With all these thoughts and the unfamiliarity of the bed, she ended up spending the whole night without sleep. Early the next morning, Anai Yang got out of bed. Although she had not slept well all night, her face did not show the slightest sign of fatigue. Chapter 758, Self-Inflicted _5. Wearing a simple cheongsam paired with an overcoat, her hair cascaded down her back, with a clip of the same color as the cheongsam holding back a strand at her ear. She was a sight to behold. Yang is up," Zheng Lingling, who was preparing breakfast, warmly greeted Anai Yan as she came in. She showed no traces of dislike for Anai Yang, her eyebrows were brimming with affection. Anai Yang greeted her cheerfully, Good morning, Auntie. Good morning, Zheng Lingling chuckled. Not only are you a beauty, but your words are also as sweet as honey. Unlike our Xianjing, who's a bit aloof. She's not particularly good-looking and isn't quite the charmer either. Her introverted demeanor is really baffling. With her silver tongue, Zheng Lingling could make the dead come alive and make the living dance to her tunes, leaving them utterly confused. If the person in front of her wasn't an Ai Yang, they would have surely dropped all their defenses. An Ai Yang lightly hooked the corner of her mouth, her dimples barely visible. Auntie, you're being too modest about Sister Xianjing. She's quite an incredible person as well. Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes. An Ai Yang was indeed no easy target. Ordinary teenagers hearing such pleasant words would have been completely disoriented. But not an Ai Yang, she managed just fine. Soon Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi got up as well. From Shangguan Zu's perspective he could see an Ai Yang's profile. Sitting at the dining table, she wasn't adopting the poised posture that most young ladies from big families did. Instead, she sat with her left leg crossed over her right, exuding casual confidence. Her cheongsam had been amended, with a slit that wasn't too high, revealing a graceful calf that was dazzlingly white. Looking up, there was her uniquely delicate face. The shadows cast by her curled eyelashes on her nose bridge were fan-like. Her lips were red, echoing the clip by her ear. Such a person would attract attention wherever she went. Yang, why did you get up so early? Shangguan Shi skipped over and sat next to an Ai Yan. Shangguan Su looked away distastefully. An Ai Yang laughed. It's not that early, you two are up too, aren't you? Shangguan Shi giggled. Well, we have work, but you don't. As she spoke, she noticed Zheng Lingling emerging from the kitchen and quickly greeted her. Good morning, Auntie. Zheng Lingling smiled. Oh, Xiaoxi and Xiaoshu, you're both up. How did you sleep last night? Shangguan Shi replied. Thank you for your concern, Auntie, we slept really well. Soon the elders Zheng and his wife, Anai Tsuehua, and Shangguan Dehui joined them for breakfast. It was a full house at the Zheng family's dining table. It was the first time that the dining room was filled with so many people. The sight was overwhelming for the elderly Zhengs. They had been waiting for such a family reunion for many years. Now death would leave nothing to be regretted. Halfway through the meal, Mrs. Zheng finally noticed Zheng Xianjing's absence and asked, Lingling, where is Xianjing? Zheng Lingling replied, I have no idea where that child is. She vanished early this morning, probably off somewhere to have fun. Mom, you needn't worry about her. Even though Zheng Lingling was smiling on the outside, inside she was cursing the old lady. You old hag, only realizing Zheng Xianjing is missing now? Why couldn't you have waited until everyone finished eating before mentioning it? Just then, a noise was heard from outside the door. Zheng Lingling looked up to see Zheng Xianjing walk in. With a frown, Zheng Lingling scolded, Xianjing, where have you been all this time? Didn't you know we were all eating? You have no manners. Zheng Xianjing wasn't alone. She was supporting a smiling Zheng Suyu. Looking a bit wronged, Xianjing replied, Mother, when I got up this morning, I saw Grandma Suyu sitting alone on the couch. I decided to take her out for a walk. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be late. Old Mrs. Zheng stood up. Xianjing, you're a good girl. Quickly bring your grandma over for breakfast. Lingling, how can you scold the child like this? She was just being filial. Zheng Xianjing had always been kind-hearted and compassionate since she was a child. Zheng Xianjing led Zheng Suyu to sit at the table side. These days, Zheng Suyu couldn't eat on her own and needed assistance. Chapter 759, Self-Inflicted _6. Zheng Xianjing took the bowl and chopsticks from the servant's hand. Let me feed Aunt Suyu. Zheng Suyu was restless while eating, often spraying food all over the person feeding her. In just a few minutes, Zheng Xianjing was sprayed twice. Fun. Fun. So much fun. Zheng Suyu clapped her hands joyfully. Zheng Xianjing didn't get angry, she calmly wiped the leftovers off her face with a handkerchief. Her lips still held a smile and she kindly said, Aunt Suyu, you mustn't be naughty, we have to eat properly. Who else could tolerate such behavior from Zheng Suyu? Seeing Zheng Xianjing being so understanding, both the Zheng family's patriarch and matriarch were very reassured. Zheng Lingling unintentionally exchanged glances with Zheng Xianjing, and both saw the satisfaction in the other's eyes. An Ai Yang took a sip of milk, her gaze sweeping over everyone unnoticed. Is Zheng Xianjing really that kind? From what she knew of Zheng Xianjing, unless the sun rises from the west, Zheng Xianjing would certainly not be a person of goodwill. The Zheng family's water was too deep. She had to probe carefully to ensure that her grandparents could live their final years in peace. After breakfast was over, Everyone began to go about their business. Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi went to work. Before they left, they informed the matriarch that they would not be coming the next evening. Firstly, because it was inconvenient due to work, and secondly, there was a generational gap between them and the matriarch. Moreover, their paternal grandmother was still alive. How would it look if they always stayed at the Zheng family's house? And Yang left the house with Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi. Shangguan Su asked, Yang, where are you going? I can drive you there. And Yang replied, no need, I will ride my bike. I have several places to go this afternoon. It would be inconvenient if you were to drive me. All right then, just be careful on the way. Shangguan Su instructed her. Okay. And Yang nodded. At that moment, the matriarch came out from inside. Yang, where are you going? Our family might lack other things, but we have plenty of cars. I can assign a driver to you and have them take you there. Upon hearing this, Zheng Lingling's face was full of disbelief. What? This old hag actually wanted to assign a driver to an Yang? She had served this old hag in the Zheng family for so many years, and the old hag had never thought of assigning a driver to Zheng Xianjing. What did she mean by this now? Was she deliberately trying to embarrass her? Anger was seething up inside Zheng Lingling, but she could not vent it out. And Yang smiled and said, no need, Grandma, I prefer to ride my bike. She preferred bicycles over cars, and Yang was someone who was immensely nostalgic. This bicycle had been with her since she started her business 2 years ago. She couldn't bear to retire it. With Yang's current financial status, if she wanted to switch to a car, she wouldn't have to consider it at all. She could easily afford not just 1 but 10 cars without batting an eyelid. And Yang was the type who silently amassed wealth. Let me assign a driver for you then. Riding a bike requires pedaling, it's so tiring, the matriarch insisted. And Yang replied, not at all, I have to leave now, Grandma, bye. The matriarch helplessly laughed. This child? Shangguan Dehui didn't have class today. He had already discussed with Enai Tsuehua the night before about bringing the Zheng family patriarch and matriarch out for fun today. Throughout these years, the elderly couple had been continually searching for Enai Tsuehua, without taking the time to enjoy themselves. Enai Tsuehua said, why don't you come with us, Lingling? Sure. Zheng Lingling nodded. It was an important occasion. Of course she would go. What if, in her absence, the old Master Zheng and Madame Zheng handed all the Zheng family's property over to Enai Tsuehua? She had to closely watch Mr. Zheng and Mrs. Zheng at all times. Now it was already April, the sunshine was warm, both sides of the road were lined with cherry trees, which were just blooming right now. The beautiful pink blossoms were a sight to behold from afar. Yang was cycling down the road. The gentle breeze stirred up the pink cherry blossoms, creating a flurry of petals. Petals fell into her hair, onto her shoulders, and brushed past her cheeks, causing her to instinctively stretch her arms wide. Yang had good control of her bike. Even with her arms outstretched, she cycled steadily. From afar, she exhibited a vibrant sense of beauty and skill. A black car whisked past her. Just as the black car drove by, a figure dashed across from the other side of the road. Yang quickly braked and jumped off the bike. Are you okay, sis? The girl appeared 16 or 17 years old, her face smeared with a layer of dark dust, making it hard to see her actual features. However, her giant sparkling eyes lit up her face. Although it was already April, she was still wearing a thick cotton-padded jacket with floral patterns. The girl was about to say something when a pallid woman rushed from the side, grabbed her arm and started running. Xiaoyun, let's go, we're running out of time. Wu Yinyun had no time to respond and hurriedly followed her mother. The mother and daughter ran all the way to stop in front of a large hotel. The mother's name was Yen Erju. As she ran, Yen Erju instructed Wu Yinyun, Xiaoyun, remember to serve yourself plenty of meat and vegetables. Aim for things like roast chicken and pork knuckle. Your grandma hasn't tasted meat for a long time. Wu Yinyun nodded, okay mom. I understand. Starting yesterday, the hotel began offering a buffet service, with an abundance of food. Many who had difficulty getting a good meal or were financially strained, would come to eat at this buffet. Not only could they eat their fill, but they could also take some home. The banquet was rumored to have been sponsored by a wealthy family celebrating the return of their long-lost daughter. This indeed was a good deed. Besides this mother and daughter, many others came from afar, making the hotel lobby extremely crowded. Meanwhile in the car, a man who had been calmly reading the newspaper suddenly put it down and looked back. However, due to the high speed of the car, he could no longer see the road behind clearly. Mr. Du, what are you looking at? Wang Ziki, the driver, looked back and asked. Nothing. Mr. Du picked up the newspaper again, asking, "How is the investigation going?" Wang Ziki of course knew what Mr. Du was referring to and replied, "We have some leads now." Mr. Du's expression changed. "When can we get a definitive answer?" He never cared about the process in his work, only the results. "We need to confirm a few more things." Wang Ziki responded. Wang Ziki knew Mr. Du well. If he didn't have any leads by now, Mr. Du would not be sitting back and reading the paper so tranquilly. Mr. Du nodded. "All right, I'm waiting for the results." Wang Ziki continued, "The fourth lady called yesterday." Mr. Du remained silent. Observing Mr. Du's expression, Wang Ziki added, "After you cut off all her funding, she's been living poorly. Often going meal to meal. She brought it upon herself. You don't need to sympathize with people like her." Mr. Du spoke indifferently, clearly unaffected by whatever plight the fourth lady found herself in. Chapter 760. The Secret of Ginseng Soup _1/4 Miss is a typical internet critic, enjoying the money of Master Du on the one hand, while on the other hand she curses him as the most evil capitalist, wanting to overthrow the Master Du, acting recklessly. Now that Master Du has cut off all her sources of income, she certainly deserves it. After thinking about it, Wang Ziki continued, "So we just let fourth Miss go like this? Master Du used to spoil fourth Miss, or else he wouldn't have indulged her for such a long time." After a while, Master Du's voice echoed in the air. "She wanted freedom, didn't she? Then he'll give her freedom." Wang Ziki was taken aback. Was Master Du completely giving up on fourth Miss? Master Du continued, "From now on if she calls, you don't need to answer." "All right." Wang Ziki nodded agreement. Today is the opening day of Beijing's 15th Fair-Skin Beauty store. With great discounts and unlimited purchases of limited products today, as soon as the store opens, it is filled with people. The 5 employees simply couldn't keep up with the rush. Yang put on her uniform and began working with the others. "I want 10 sets of the Supreme Edition limited gift boxes." The Supreme Edition limited gift box costs 580 yuan each, but the rich people in Beijing can afford it. It was supremely difficult to get one of these limited edition gift boxes before, as this rare opportunity of unrestricted purchasing arose with the opening of the new store. Of course people wanted to buy more. Yang smiled slightly. "I'm sorry customer, but each person is limited to purchasing one Supreme Edition limited gift box." "I thought it wasn't restricted today?" The voice of the person sounded obviously unhappy. Yang explained, "No restriction means the total quantity is not restricted. As long as customers visit the store, everyone can purchase the limited products. On a normal day these limited edition products are only limited to 60 sets per month. Many people came hoping to buy them, but left with disappointment." "Oh, is that so? Can I really buy 10 sets? Can't you make an exception for me, young lady?" Yang continued, "I'm really sorry, these are the store's rules, I can't easily violate them." "Your boss must be a fool then, doesn't even know when to make money. Give me 1 set." "All right, please wait a moment." Yang took out a set of Fair-Skin Beauty and handed it to her. Limited sales in the mall is called hunger marketing. As the saying goes, rarity is the most precious thing. If Fair-Skin Beauty had always been available without limitation, its sales would definitely not be as good as they are now. And being a limited sale give people a high-end feeling. Zheng Xianjing is also a loyal fan of Fair-Skin Beauty. A year ago her skin was very rough, and she needed foundation to cover up her flaws, but since she started using Fair-Skin Beauty, her rough skin problem has improved a lot. Even without makeup now, her skin is still glowing with hydration. Today is the grand opening of Fair-Skin Bowtie's new store, with unlimited supply of limited products. Of course Zheng Xianjing wouldn't miss it. Zheng Xianjing and her young friends came to the Fair-Skin Beauty store. This young friend was called Zhou Yi, Zheng Xianjing's college classmate. They also lived in the same dormitory and got along well. Wait a moment. Just as Zheng Xianjing was getting ready to go in, she spotted a familiar figure. "What's wrong?" Zhou Yi turned around questioningly. Zheng Xianjing carefully recognized the figure in the crowd. "I think I see someone I know." "Who?" Zhou Yi asked. Zheng Xianjing continued, "It's my new younger sister." Zheng Xianjing deliberately pronounced the 2 words younger sister with emphasis. To think that Yang would actually work at Fair-Skin Beauty? What was going on? Zhou Yi then added, "Is it the younger sister who wants to compete with you for your family property?" "Yes." Zheng Xianjing nodded her head. Due to Zheng Xianjing's intentional vilification, Zhou Yi had a very bad impression of Yang. Isn't your family quite rich? Why would your grandmother let her work? This is so embarrassing. Country folks are just country folks, even if they dress up in princess clothes, they don't look like princesses. Zheng Xianjing continued, she's doing it on purpose. What do you mean? Zhou Yi asked. Zheng Xianjing said, by doing this she just wants to get my grandmother's attention. You think if my grandmother sees her working here, she's bound to be heartbroken. As soon as my grandmother feels bad, she'll give her all the family property. By then there would be no share for me and my mother. The Zheng family is not lacking food and drink for An Yang, but An Yang is pretending to be pitiful and working outside. It's clearly on purpose. Chapter 761. The Secret of Ginseng Soup _2. Their cunning is truly deep. Zhou Yi exclaimed in surprise, oh my god! Your new sister has no shame at all. You and your mother have been taking care of your grandparents for such a long time. Even if you're not related by blood, your emotional bond is even stronger. How dare they sit idle and reap the benefits and try to steal from you? Zheng Xianjing sighed helplessly. Zhou Yi continued, wait, I'll teach her a lesson for you. Forget it. Zheng Xianjing held onto Zhou Yi's arm, pleadingly saying, we would often run into each other, it wouldn't be good if things get too tense. Zhou Yi is someone who can't stand injustice, and Zheng Xianjing is her good friend. She can't stand Zheng Xianjing being bullied. It doesn't concern you if I am the one who teaches her a lesson. You just wait here. It's the long-haired girl, right? Zheng Xianjing nodded. Don't make a big scene, after all, she is still my sister. Zhou Yi, speechless, said, what are you still considering at this point, sisterly affection? Then Zhou Yi turned and walked towards the store. Watching her figure, an imperceptible smirk appeared at the corners of Zheng Xianjing's mouth. Zhou Yi is quite naive and easy to inflame, just like a firecracker, ready to explode at the slightest provocations. Perhaps she reads too many martial arts novels, aspiring to be a chivalrous woman who vanquishes evil. This time An Yang might be in trouble. The store is crowded with people lining up. Even if Zhou Yi wanted to make it difficult for An Yang, she couldn't do it immediately. Zhou Yi stood in line observing An Yang. As she got closer to the front of the line, she suddenly realized that Zheng Xianjing's sister was incredibly beautiful. Her skin was as white as snow, lips red and teeth white. For all appearances and charm, even the dull uniform she wore couldn't hide her ethereal temperament. Every frown and smile was exceedingly eye-catching. She, a woman herself, found her eyes brightening and heart fluttering at the sight. Because the store was so crowded, people bumped into each other, causing a glass bottle on the shelf to fall. The glass bottle was about to hit a little girl. Just as Zhou Yi was about to intervene, she saw a figure move faster than she could. The figure gently held the little girl in one arm and deftly caught the falling glass bottle in the other. Steady as a rock. Her posture was incredibly cool. Zhou Yi stood in stunned silence. A heroine. She was precisely the type of heroic woman she imagined in her mind. Are you okay, little girl? An Yang put back the glass bottle and looked down at the little girl. I'm fine. The little girl shook her head and quickly ran to her mother saying, Mama? The mother, engrossed in her conversation, had missed the small incident entirely. Zhou Yi's gaze toward An Yang gradually turned into admiration. An Yang looked beautiful when she smiled and had adorable dimples, and she was incredibly agile. It was hard for anyone to dislike her. After a while it was finally Zhou Yi's turn. Outside the door, the smugness in Zheng Xianjing's eyes became more apparent. At this point, Zhou Yi, who was earlier planning to give Zheng Xianjing a piece of her mind, had put that thought at the back of her mind. Excuse me, miss, I need a bottle of whitening cream and wrinkle cream. All right. An Yang nodded lightly. Zhou Yi scratched her head and continued, can I ask what your name is? She was really curious. An Yang. An Yang's tone was light. An Yang, what a lovely name. An Yang, have you ever practiced martial arts? Zhou Yi made a few gestures on the spot. You were so cool back there. An Yang smiled and said, thank you. I have practiced martial arts and Chinese kung fu for a few years. In her previous life, she had mastered kung fu and martial arts to protect herself but was still schemed upon. In this life, her senses had become sensitized ever since she saved that high official in Dam Village. The combination of her heightened senses and martial arts made her movements more agile. Zhou Yi nodded, so that's how it is. Outside the door, the more Zheng Xianjing watched, the more something seemed wrong. Didn't Zhou Yi go in to give An Yang a hard time? Why were they now having a pleasant conversation? What an idiot Zhou Yi was. What on earth was she doing? Zheng Xianjing's lips tightened. She was itching to rush in and slap Zhou Yi. Soon after, Zhou Yi walked back out, smiling broadly. Xianjing, you must have misunderstood something. I think your new sister is quite nice. She's beautiful, handles things smoothly, and even her voice is pleasant. If I were you, I would be overjoyed to have such a fantastic sister. Chapter 762, The Secret of Ginseng Soup _3. Upon hearing this, shock flooded Zheng Xianjing's face. What in the world had happened? Why did Zhou Yi suddenly side with Yang and speak up for her? Zheng Xianjing's complexion changed continuously. She sighed deeply, her face filled with bitterness. I knew this would be the outcome, she said dejectedly. What outcome? Zhou Yi asked. Zheng Xianjing responded with a bitter laugh. Just because she's pretty, everything she does is right? Well, I'm used to it. She was stepping back to move forward, shifting the hatred back onto Yang. No, Zhou Yi continued, I didn't side with your sister because she's beautiful. I genuinely think she's a good person, not a bad one. Zheng Xianjing, her head lowered and filled with a sense of grievance, responded, You've truly been fooled by her. She's like a venomous snake in human skin. If you're not careful, she can deliver a lethal blow. You haven't spent time with her, so I can understand why you've been misled. Really? Zhou Yi squinted her eyes. She couldn't help but feel that Yang was not that kind of person. Zheng Xianjing continued, Look at you now, even doubting my words. Think about it. We've been classmates for so long, when have I ever lied to you? Whatever, I give up. Zhou Yi said, This is too convoluted, it's giving me a headache. Anyway, I really like your sister. You dislike yours, I like mine, let's just keep it that way. Zheng Xianjing bit her lip hard, feeling intense resentment. Why? Why did Yang get to snatch everything away from her? First, she took away her grandparents, and now she was even trying to take her best friend. At the Zheng family's home. The elderly Mr. and Mrs. Zheng hadn't had such fun in a long time. Even after coming back from the park, their faces still bore happy smiles. At that moment, the butler escorted Dr. Jiang inside. Madam, Dr. Jiang is here. Dr. Jiang inspected Mrs. Zheng's health every month and a half. Xiaoyan's here. Mrs. Zheng smiled at Yang. Yang, come here. The last time there were too many people and I forgot to introduce you to Grandma Jiang. Yang responded and approached her. Grandma Jiang. Dr. Jiang nodded and said, This child is really beautiful, Aching, just like you when you were young. Right? I think so too. The corners of Mrs. Zheng's eyes brimmed with warmth. Tsuehua served a plate of fruits. Dr. Jiang, have some fruit. Mrs. Zheng said, Xiaoyan and I are lifelong best friends, Tingting, you should call her Aunt Jiang. All right. Tsuehua looked up at Dr. Jiang. Aunt Jiang? She hadn't really paid attention to Dr. Jiang during the last familial reunion, but finding a closer look at her today, she found her strangely familiar. Very familiar. It was as if she had seen her somewhere before. Tsuehua squinted her eyes but simply couldn't remember where she had seen Dr. Jiang before. Dr. Jiang subtly shifted her gaze away from Tsuehua, placed her medical box on the tea table, and said to Mrs. Zheng, Aching, shall we start now? I heard from Lingling that you've been feeling much better recently. Mrs. Zheng nodded, Yes, I'm much better. Ever since she followed Yang's advice, her cough had almost completely disappeared. Nowadays, the only reason she invited Dr. Jiang over was so that she wouldn't overthink. After all, Dr. Jiang was also her lifelong friend. Dr. Jiang put on her stethoscope, then examined Mrs. Zheng's tongue and eyes before saying, There's still some inflammation. They'll prescribe you some more medicine. All right. Mrs. Zheng nodded. Dr. Jiang took 2 small bottles of medicine out of her medical box and handed them to Mrs. Zheng. This capsule is to be taken once a day. The other one is to be applied externally, 1 patch on the belly button each day. Mrs. Zheng noted down the instructions carefully. As Dr. Jiang was about to leave, she bumped into Zheng Lingling, who was carrying a bowl of ginseng soup. Aunt Jiang's here. Lingling. Dr. Jiang walked over with a smile. No wonder I didn't see you inside, you were making ginseng soup for your mother. Lingling, you're such a filial child. Just then, bang. Dr. Jiang lost her footing, knocking over the bowl of ginseng soup in Zheng Lingling's hands. I'm sorry, Lingling. Did you get burnt? Dr. Jiang apologized immediately. My old age is affecting my vision. Sorry, Zheng Lingling frowned. It's fine, Aunt Jiang. It was just a couple of bowls of ginseng soup, doesn't matter. Chapter 763, The Secret of Ginseng Soup _4. Dr. Jiang squatted down to pick up the shards. Your mother's health has almost fully recovered. Drinking things like ginseng soup has more harm than good. You don't need to make it for her anymore. What? Zheng Lingling looked at Dr. Jiang, thinking she must have misheard. Dr. Jiang continued, although ginseng is a great tonic, it is also a medicine. As the saying goes, even medicines can be harmful. In short, just listen to me. Zheng Lingling nodded, all right, Aunt Jiang. Dr. Jiang patted Zheng Lingling's arm, I'll be leaving then. Zheng Lingling quickly put down the shard she was holding, I'll walk you out. Dr. Jiang looked at the mess on the floor, no need, you carry on with your chores. Zheng Lingling quickly asked the servants to mop up the spilled soup from the floor. N.I. Yen was standing behind a large antique vase, observing the whole scene. The conversation between Zheng Lingling and Dr. Jiang seemed normal, but upon closer inspection, it was full of suspicions. Was she overthinking things, or was there indeed something strange between those two? N.I. Yen narrowed her eyes slightly and tiptoed towards the kitchen. The Zheng family's kitchen was huge and it produced a large amount of daily waste. When she arrived, she happened to see the servant throwing the shards into the bin. After the servant left, N.I. Yen stepped out from the corner, picked up a piece of shard and sniffed it. It did smell like ginseng soup. Was she really overthinking it? N.I. Yen didn't linger and pulled a handkerchief from her pocket. She wrapped the shard in the handkerchief and left. Nobody would think that someone would take away a piece of a broken bowl. That evening, N.I. Yen visited Mrs. Zheng's bedroom. Who's there? Mrs. Zheng asked from inside the room. Grandma, it's me, Yang. N.I. Yen responded. The next second the door opened. The person opening the door was Mr. Zheng. Yang, come in quickly. Mrs. Zheng was sitting on the sofa with her reading glasses on, looking at something. Seeing N.I. Yan's arrival, she immediately said, Yang, come over here. N.I. Yen walked over with a smile and then saw that Mrs. Zheng was holding a black and white photo of a very cute young baby. Mrs. Zheng laughed, Yang, does this baby look like Yun? This is your mother when she was little. Really? N.I. Yen was somewhat amazed as she took the photo. So this is my mother when she was young? She does look quite like Yun. Mrs. Zheng continued, so, the moment I first laid my eyes on little Yun, I knew she was somehow related to me, it's fate. After looking at the photo, N.I. Yen said, Grandma, I have something to ask you. Go ahead. Have you known Dr. Jiang for a long time? N.I. Yen asked. Yes. Mrs. Zheng nodded. If we were to calculate, I have known her for more than 30 years. 30 years wasn't a long time, nor a short one. N.I. Yen continued, so, is she our family's physician? Has she always been managing your health? Mrs. Zheng further nodded, I owe my health to her. Yang, Dr. Jiang has no children, she is quite pitiful. If we can help her in the future, we should. Okay. N.I. Yen continued, Grandma, how did you meet Dr. Jiang? Here's how it was. Mrs. Zheng began reminiscing about the past 30 years. Dr. Jiang is indeed a good person. Otherwise, she wouldn't have crossed the Pacific, overcoming countless obstacles, to bring Zheng Lingling to Mrs. Zheng's side. The world 30 years ago was not as it is now. One could only imagine how hard it would have been for Dr. Jiang, a woman, to travel alone with a child. No wonder Mrs. Zheng trusted Dr. Jiang. There was this reason behind their relationship. N.I. Yen squinted her eyes and said, Grandma, can I see the medicine prescribed to you by Dr. Jiang today? I will get it for you. Mr. Zheng rose from the sofa to fetch it. A moment later, Mr. Zheng handed 2 small white bottles to N.I. Yen. N.I. Yen carefully examined the 2 bottles of medicine and found them to be common anti-inflammatory drugs. Mrs. Zheng asked, Yang, have you found something? N.I. Yen continued, Grandma, do you remember when you and Grandpa first visited Jianghu village? I told you that the toxins in your bodies might have been deliberately caused by someone. Chapter 764, The Secret of Ginseng Soup _5. I remember. Mrs. Zheng nodded, but you also said that these toxins could have possibly resulted from food incompatibility. Once she finished speaking, Mrs. Zheng exclaimed surprisingly, Yang, are you suspecting the doctor? The doctor had absolutely no motive. Why would she poison anyone? N.I. Yang replied, one has to safeguard against the possibility of harm from people. Even though the doctor doesn't have a motive, there is one person who does. Since my return, hasn't someone been afraid that my mom would start fighting with her over the family property? N.I. Yang was direct about her thoughts. Although Zheng Lingling hid it very well, she couldn't escape from Ni Yang's eyes. If Zheng Lingling was a good mother, she wouldn't have raised Zheng Xianjing to be the way she was. Mrs. Zheng turned pale. Lingling, although she is somewhat greedy, she's not a bad person. Zheng Lingling was brought to her house at the tender age of 7. Mrs. Zheng took care for her with her own hands, and even though she wasn't her birth child, Mrs. Zheng saw no difference. Mrs. Zheng couldn't believe it. She refused to believe that the child she raised single-handedly could do such things. She is Lingling's mother. Can a daughter hurt her mother? I also know what Lingling worries about, which is why I already drafted my will. After I and your grandfather pass away, the Zheng family's property will be split equally between your mom and your aunt. They both know this. They are both my children, so I treat them all equally. Zheng Lingling doesn't need to harm her at all. And Yang continued, Grandma, please don't get agitated, I'm just making a guess. As for the real reason, she would find out the truth and everything would become clear. Grandfather Zheng remained silent as if he was mulling over something. After understanding a few things from Mr. and Mrs. Zheng, Yang returned to her room. On her way back, she passed by Zheng Suyu's room. She heard a burst of noises coming from Zheng Suyu's room. Yang halted, knocking at the door. Auntie, are you okay? The noise in the room seemed to have lowered a bit. Auntie, can you open the door? This time, all noise from the room completely stopped. Yang furrowed her brows. Zheng Suyu wasn't thinking straight. It wouldn't be good if she did something that might hurt herself. Yang gathered her strength and directly twisted the doorknob, entering the room with purpose. Zheng Suyu's room was quite big. There was a small reception area up front, and then there was the main bedroom. Though Yang heard quite a commotion from outside, the room appeared to be in perfect order, completely different from what she had imagined. Auntie? Yang moved forward. Just then Zheng Lingling walked out from inside. Yang, what brings you here? Your aunt is having an episode. Currently she doesn't recognize anyone. Leave quickly before she hurts you. Aunt Lingling? Yang was slightly taken aback. Let's go out quickly. Zheng Lingling grabbed hold of Yang's wrist. Yang silently shrugged off Zheng Lingling's hand and moved towards the bedroom. Zheng Lingling followed in Yang's footsteps. Yang, be careful. If you end up getting hurt by your aunt, don't blame me for not warning you. Just then, a figure suddenly rushed out from the bedroom. He'll kill you? I want to kill you. Liars. You all are big liars. Yang deftly avoided, extending her hand to hold Zheng Suyu's hand. Auntie, calm down a bit. Kill you? Kill you. There was no chance of Zheng Suyu calming down. Left with no choice, Yang had to prick her needle at the Laogong acupoint once more. Only then Zheng Suyu quieted down. But even after she quieted down, Zheng Suyu was seemingly incapable of thinking, her pair of eyes dulled and lifeless. There's an injury on her forehead. What happened? Yang asked. Zheng Lingling replied, when your aunt has an episode, she not only hits others but also hurts herself. It's not just her forehead, there are wounds at other places too. As she spoke, Zheng Lingling rolled up Zheng Suyu's sleeve, revealing that Zheng Suyu's arm was entirely covered in wounds. These were all done by your aunt herself. Just then Zheng Suyu instantly retracted her hand and hugged Yang tightly, crying, Sister-in-law, it hurts. So you hurt so bad. There are ghosts want to harm Suyu. Yang was stunned. Did Zheng Suyu mistake her for Mrs. Zheng? Auntie, don't cry, would you like me to treat your injuries? Chapter 765. The Secret of Ginseng Soup _6. Yang must have said something that triggered Zheng Suyu again. She pushed Yang away and shrieked with horror, stop. I'm not sick, I won't take any medicine. I'm not sick, I'm not. Zheng Suyu stammered as she staggered backward until she ended up hiding under a table, looking all around in panic. Yang's brows furrowed slightly. Zheng Suyu's sickness wasn't congenital, it was acquired. What kind of trauma did she endure to become like this? When she says that there is a ghost haunting her, is she hinting that this ghost might be the person who orchestrated her misery? Yang squatted down, eye level with Zheng Suyu. Ma'am, how about you come out and talk? Don't worry, I won't harm you. Ghost. You're a ghost. Stay away. Stay away from me. Retorted Zheng Suyu, shuffling back in fear, her eyes pulsing with terror, her expression excruciatingly painful. Zheng Lingling intervened. Yang, your aunt's condition is quite critical now, let's just leave, we don't want to agitate her more. Feeling helpless, Yang had no choice but to leave for now. Once back in her room, Yang sat at her desk, drawing a relationship chart of the Zheng family members. Why did Zheng Suyu go mad? Where did the toxins in Mr. and Mrs. Zheng's bodies come from? What role does the doctor play in all this? After Ni Yang finished her chart, she realized that besides Zheng Lingling, both Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao aspired for the Zheng family fortune, making things even more complex. Perhaps Zheng Suyu could be the breakthrough in this conundrum. It seemed that finding her master sooner was vital. Ni Yang looked out of the window to see the night deepening, with only a few stars scattered in the sky. She closed the curtain, turned around and went to bed. After staying a few days at the Zheng family home, Ni Tsuehua intended to bring Mr. and Mrs. Zheng to stay in Jinghua village for a few days. After spending so much time at the Zheng family home, she missed her small house in the village. Mrs. Zheng agreed, "That sounds great. The air in the countryside is fresh, staying there for a few days might be nice." "Let's bring Aunt Suyu along," suggested Ni Tsuehua. "Bring Aunt Suyu?" asked Zheng Lingling. "What if her sickness flares up while we're in the countryside? I should stay home and take care of her." Ni Tsuehua laughed. "No worries, the countryside is spacious. A change in environment might even benefit Aunt Suyu's health." Before Zheng Lingling could say more, Mrs. Zheng interjected, "Ting, well, proceed as per your idea. Let's bring Suyu along." It was endearing to see Ni Tsuehua showing concern. Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes and suggested, "Mom, then I'll accompany you." Mrs. Zheng disagreed. "Lingling, why don't you come next time? It would be inconvenient to leave the house unattended." The huge Zheng family home couldn't be left without a caretaker, could it? Although Sun Wu was around in Mrs. Zheng's eyes, he was as irrelevant as a grain weevil. Hearing this, Zheng Lingling humphed to herself. This is what happens when one has their own children, they forget about the adopted child. They were going out to have fun, why should she stay home alone? Was she a guard dog? What if Mrs. Zheng gave all the Zheng family property to Ni Tsuehua behind her back? Damn old woman. "Then I will ask Xianjing to go with you," suggested Zheng Lingling. Mrs. Zheng asked, "Isn't Xianjing in school?" Zheng Lingling replied, "She is in college now, missing a few days of classes wouldn't matter." Mrs. Zheng disagreed, slightly frowning. "That doesn't sound right. A student should focus on their studies, how can she arbitrarily skip classes? She needs to set the proper example as a student." Upon hearing this, frustration welled up inside Zheng Lingling. No matter how you look at it, they just didn't want her to come along. Zheng Lingling continued, "Mom, you're right. A student should prioritize their studies. I didn't consider it thoroughly." Mrs. Zheng nodded. "Lingling, the fact you understand the importance of your studies is enough. Please take care of things while we're gone. We won't be long." When the villagers of Jinghua village found out that Ni Tsuehua had found her long-lost parents and family, they were extremely happy. As soon as they arrived at the village outskirts, loud firecrackers could be heard, a jovial village celebration. Firing the crackers was a way to celebrate and express their joy. "Congrats, Yang Yang's mom. Congrats. Congrats. I always wondered why Yang Yang's mom is so pretty. Turns out she's a lady of a grand family." Touched, Ni Tsuehua replied, "Thanks, everyone. Tonight, come by my place for dinner, let's enjoy the evening together." It was too late to prepare for lunch, so she decided to invite everyone for dinner instead. Ni Tsuehua started preparing for dinner. As she had been staying at the Zheng family residence for several days, her house had run out of provisions. She asked Shangguan Dehui to head to the city to buy some. "Dehui, remember to buy lots of meat. Also grab enough alcohol and cigarettes," Ni Tsuehua told Shangguan Dehui. Shangguan Dehui nodded, "All right, I got it." Meanwhile, elsewhere, Wang Ziki, holding a stack of documents, knocked gently on Master Du's door. "Master Du, come in." A voice came from inside after a while. Wang Ziki opened the door to walk in, stopping in front of a beaded curtain. Master Du was behind the curtain. "Master Du, I found the person," declared Wang Ziki. The room fell silent for a moment. Afterward, a skeletal hand parted the beaded curtain. Master Du emerged. "Who is it?" Chapter 766. It's her _1. Master Du seemed to have just woken up, his face still beholden to a sense of drowsiness. He held a string of Buddha beads in his hand as he haughtily surveyed Wang Ziki. Wang Ziki continued. "From my investigation, I found out the car that night belonged to the Zheng family, and the Miss Zheng from the Zheng family, Zheng Xianjing, was the one sitting inside the car. Look, this here is Zheng Xianjing's travel record for that day." Finishing his speech, Wang Ziki handed over the documents to Master Du. Master Du reached out and swiftly flipped through the records. According to the documents, Zheng Xianjing's travel time coincided with the time of the incident that night. And there's this. Wang Ziki passed one more photograph to Master Du. In the darkened background of the photo, a figure wearing a beige coat could be vaguely discerned. The figure's slipping hair hid their face. Master Du squinted. The scene set out in the photograph overlay with what he had seen that night. Even though Master Du had been severely injured at the time, his memory was clear. He clearly remembered that the person he had passed that fleeting instant wore a beige coat. Later, they hurriedly returned to the alley to see that figure get into a small passenger car. Because they had only had a fleeting look, the car sped off before he could respond. Where did this photograph come from? Master Du continued to question. This photograph was taken by a photo fanatic, Ziki explained. It had taken a lot of resources to obtain this photo. The term fanatic was a popular term of the 80s, used to express a kind of obsession towards something. Originally, the term had been introduced from Hong Kong Island. Do you have Zheng Xianjing's personal information? Master Du followed up. Yes. Wang Ziki nodded and handed over a document. Master Du reached out to receive it. Wang Ziki was an excellent subordinate. He delved deeply into Zheng Xianjing's personal data. No medical training? No martial arts training? Master Du flipped through a few pages of the documents and frowned slightly. That person from that night clearly possessed superb medical skills and formidable martial arts techniques. Otherwise, they wouldn't have managed to rescue them from such peril. But Zheng Xianjing was a typical upper-class lady. She had studied violin, piano, and dance, but no martial arts. Moreover, she studied finance at university, which had no relation to medicine whatsoever. Could she be the person from that night? Since she was the one who saved his life, Master Du couldn't draw a conclusion too hastily. Master Du, one should not judge a book by its cover. Perhaps Miss Zheng is one who keeps her abilities hidden? You've been in this circle, you should know the depths it holds. Who can truly know? Wang Ziki said. One can never be entirely sure of such things. Having seen his fair share of the world, Master Du naturally understood this principle. Arrange a meeting with her at your earliest convenience. I wish to meet her personally. After a long while, Master Du spoke. Understood. Wang Ziki nodded. An I family. Today the NIS courtyard was exceptionally lively. Almost all the villagers had come, and no one came empty-handed. Some brought eggs, others brought fruits from their trees. Lady Zheng, who had lived in a large manor for so long, was experiencing such humble and genuine camaraderie for the first time. This was indicative of the popularity of the Ni family in Jianghu village. The dinner was prepared by Ni Tsuehua and Ni Yang. The main course was beef stew noodles. Each table was served with 8 dishes, 5 meats and 3 vegetables. The beef slices were especially thick and large. Biting into a piece was a mouthful of meat. Along with the flavorful broth-soaked noodles, the food was delicious to the point of evoking sighs of delight. During dinner, people kept toasting to Lady Zheng and Old Master Zheng. Old Master, Old Lady, our toast to you. Old Master Zheng and Lady Zheng didn't display any air of disdain as they rose from their seats. Thank you. Thank you everyone for caring for our Tingting for so long. We're not looking after Yang Yang's mom. It's clearly Yang Yang and her mother taking care of us. Old Master, Old Lady, you're truly blessed. You have such a good daughter, and your daughter has such an outstanding daughter. And Yang had done too much for Jianghu village. Everyone was deeply appreciative of her. Had it not been for Yang, Jianghu village would still be on the same level as the other villages. Jianghu village's conditions were obviously much better than other villages, far more than a few times over. While the other villages had an annual income not exceeding 100, the average income of the people in Jianghu village had surpassed 500. Chapter 767. It's her under... The wide and long cement road alone was enough to make people in other villages envious. After dinner, each family would leave one person to help Inai Tsuehua clean the kitchen and wash the dishes. With many hands at work, it didn't take long for the small kitchen to be tidied up neatly. Mrs. Zheng sighed. The atmosphere of this village is really great. Mr. Zheng nodded. Yes. Feels like we've gone back many years. After spending many years in elite circles, the emotional warmth had faded somewhat. The next day, Anai Yang planned to visit her master and his wife. She bought a lot of nutritional supplements and set off on her bike. The couple lived on the other side of Beijing, more than 60 kilometers away from Jianghu village. Riding a bike was not enough, so Anai Yang cycled to the city then took a taxi. Standing in front of the familiar courtyard gate, Yang was filled with mixed feelings. At this point in her previous life, her senior brother had already been killed, so 2 white lanterns hung in front of the small courtyard, making it look desolate and lonely. In this life, her senior brother was still alive and well, and the red lantern was still the same as before. It was a relief. Yang knocked on the door of the courtyard. After a period, the door was opened by a kind-looking old lady in her 60s or 70s. "Hello, who are you looking for?" This was Wang Zhoushe, her master's wife from her previous life. Coming from a feudal society, the master's wife had no name of her own. After marrying her master, she adopted his surname and combined it with her own to be called Wang Zhoushe. Upon seeing her benefactors from her previous life again, Yang's eyes welled up with tears. "Mas?" She nearly said "master," but quickly swallowed it back and asked, "Hello, is this Dr. Wang's home?" Wang Zhoushe nodded. "Yes, come in, young lady." For some unknown reason, even though it was her first time meeting this young lady, Wang Zhoushe felt a very friendly sense of familiarity, as if they had known each other for a long time. The small courtyard was as familiar as ever. Wang Zhoushe led Yang into the living room. "Sit here for a moment, young lady, I'll go call someone for you." The master had no hobbies other than cockfighting and drinking. He was probably competing with his old buddies next door right now. After her senior brother's death in the previous life, the master suddenly aged overnight. He stopped cockfighting and drinking. "That would be great, thank you." "It's not a problem at all, it's the least I could do. You can wait here." Wang Zhoushe walked out. Yang sat in the chair, quietly observing everything in the living room. The living room's furnishings were very simple and clean. Although the master was a divine doctor, his lifestyle was quite modest. Because he never overcharged and even paid out of his pocket when treating impoverished families. Soon after, Wang Zhoushe clutched a vibrant, glossy feathered rooster, and returned with Master Wang. Old Master Wang held the rooster in his arms, grumbling, "It's all your fault. Without your interruption, my undefeated general would have won." Wang Zhoushe replied, lost for words, "And what if he did win? Can we eat him? Can we spend him? I truly can't understand what's so amusing about this game with roosters. You're no longer young and it's a bit shameful to act like this." Master Wang turned his head away in disdain. "A woman's opinion. I can't be bothered to talk to you." "I can't be bothered to talk to you either." Even as they bickered, they made their way into the living room. Seeing the couple return, Yang immediately stood up from her chair. "Dr. Wang?" Master Wang was stunned, he didn't recognize this young lady. Traditional Chinese medicine pays attention to observation, listening, questioning, and pulse-taking, and just one glance told him that this young lady did not come to seek treatment. If she was not here for treatment, what was she here for? Yang read Master Wang's confusion and continued, "Dr. Wang, my name is Yang, and the both of you can call me Yang. I came here today to express my gratitude." Yang placed a pile of nutritional supplements on the table. Dr. Wang became even more confused. "Young lady, are you sure you haven't mistaken me for someone else?" Yang was so beautiful, that if he really had seen her before, he would have remembered her. It was impossible for him not to have any impression at all. Yang had prepared a line of argument in advance. "Dr. Wang, do you remember saving a little girl from drowning 15 years ago? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't even exist now." Throughout his life, Dr. Wang had saved countless people. He vaguely remembered such an incident, but he had forgotten the specifics. Chapter 768, It's Her _3. This child was one who understood gratitude. So many years had passed, yet she still remembered it in her heart. Dr. Wang smiled and said, "As a doctor, I am merely doing my duty to heal the sick and injured. There's no need for such courtesy, young lady." Yang continued, "Ever since the incident 15 years ago, I've aspired to be just like you, Dr. Wang, a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner who heals the sick and injured. Over the years, I've read quite a few medical books. Dr. Wang, I wish to take you as my master." Yang's sincerity was palpable. The medical skills she possessed were all taught by Dr. Wang. Therefore, it was only right for her to ask to formally become his apprentice. Old Dr. Wang stroked his beard. "If you wish to become my apprentice, you must have some real skills. You said you've read medical books, right? The young lady is so beautiful, becoming an apprentice might just be a passing whim." Old Wang didn't take Yang's request to heart. "Yes." Yang nodded. "Follow me." Old Wang gestured and walked outside. Yang followed his steps. Old Wang took An Yang to the courtyard. The courtyard was filled with an abundance of drying herbs, the air wafted with a subtle medicinal scent. Old Wang pointed at these herbs and said, "If you can correctly identify all these herbs today, I'll take you as my apprentice." Wang Zhousher tugged at Dr. Wang's sleeve. "Old man, aren't you deliberately making things difficult for the young lady? There are so many herbs, even I can't recognize them all. How could she possibly do so?" Old Wang continued, "If she can't identify them, it means that we don't share a master-apprentice destiny." Wang Zhousher, speechless, retorted, "What master-apprentice destiny you speak of? The young lady is so pretty, just her willingness to accept you as a master should make you gleeful. Yet here you are still flaunting your masterly arrogance." A woman's perspective. While the two were speaking, An Yang approached the drying racks and began to identify the herbs. "This is chunbujian, purple velvet grass, stemless vine, crow leaf. These herbs have detoxifying properties. This is green ginseng, five-flavor skin, chickspear vine, maple bark, old stork grass. These herbs can eliminate rheumatism and strengthen muscles." Dr. Wang's expression gradually shifted to surprise. He didn't expect An Yang to successfully identify all the herbs. In addition, she not only recognized them all, but also understood the properties of the herbs. She was clearly a genius. Wang Zhousher was also taken aback. She spent many years assisting Dr. Wang, and despite routinely drying these herbs herself, she couldn't identify all of them like An Yang did. Doctors value talent, and old Wang was no exception. He walked over to An Yang. "Good, very good. Today Wang Erge officially accepts you as his apprentice." Throughout his life he had taken several apprentices, but none of them turned out promising. They couldn't even memorize the names of the herbs, leading them to eventually give up. An Yang immediately knelt and kowtowed in respect. "Master and mistress, please accept my salutation." "Good child, stand up." The elderly pair walked over and helped An Yang to her feet. "Thank you, master and mistress." An Yang addressed them naturally, delighting the elderly couple. Soon after, Old Wang took An Yang to pay respects to the ancestral master. Old Wang's medical skills were passed down from the lineage of Bien Quebec. Hanging on the wall was a portrait of Bien K, below which hung the portrait of a more recent ancestral master. Old Wang handed 3 sticks of incense to An Yang. "From today onwards, you are the 108th direct disciple of my Xian medical lineage. In the future you must uphold the medical ethics, maintain integrity in practicing medicine. Live in peace, sleep in peace, bearing no guilt. I will heed your teachings." An Yang bowed and placed the incense into the incense burner. An Yang was very clever. Many things only had to be explained once by Old Wang and she would understand. Old Wang was overjoyed. After so many years, he had finally found a disciple with exceptional aptitude. Old Wang was eager to parade An Yang around, to let everyone know how gifted his new disciple was. Old Wang stroked his beard, triumphantly saying, "Let's see how Lin Yuan mocks me now." Lin Yuan was Old Wang's senior fellow apprentice and another divine doctor. His medical skills were on par with Old Wang. The only difference was Lin Yuan had an extraordinarily talented apprentice, and always boasted about his apprentice to Old Wang. Furthermore, he mocked Old Wang for having no one to inherit his medical skills. Wang Zhousher laughed, "Look how smug you are." Old Wang took a sip of wine, crossed his legs and stated, "I do have something to be smug about." Chapter 769, It's Her _4. Wang Zhousher shakes his head helplessly, dealing with a person of such an age who still acts like a child every day. For 3 consecutive days, An Yang spends the afternoon with old Mr. Wang. Wang Ziki seldom stays at home, and the old couple, Mr. Wang and Wang Zhousher, find their home life quite dull. But with the arrival of An Yang, smiles have returned to the faces of the elderly couple. Despite An Yang's sound medical skills from her previous life, in her current life, she discovers lots of new information when she revisits her studies. An Yang is flipping through a medical book when she looks up at Mr. Wang and asks, "Master, is there any way to cure mental illnesses?" Old Mr. Wang puts down his wine glass and replies, "There is one method, in fact. It was developed by our ancestral master, Bien Quebec." "Really?" An Yang shows interest and puts down her medical book. Old Mr. Wang continues, "But this method is very dangerous. As the ancients said, improper use by a doctor could be life-threatening." "Is it that serious?" An Yang frowns slightly. "Then master, do you know how to do it?" "Of course I do. Am your master, how could I not know? Old Mr. Wang strokes his beard before continuing. This method is called the Ghost Gate 13 Needles. According to the Emergency 1000 Gold Essential Recipes, Volume 14, Chapter 5 on Wind Epilepsy, it is mentioned, Bien K said, the needle has 13 holes to treat the illnesses caused by 100 evils. When administering the needles, start with the Ghost Palace, then the Ghost Letter, the Ghost Rampart, and the Ghost Heart. It is not necessary to conduct all 13 needles, just 5 or 6 points could be enlightening. The Ghost Gate 13 Needles is a distinctive therapeutic method from the profound knowledge of acupuncture, and is the most miraculous aspect of Chinese acupuncture. In ancient times, it was a secret technique not taught outside the family of mystical medicine practitioners. It specifically treats various mental disorders, which in modern medical terms include depression, obsessive-compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, and other mental illnesses. This method gathers the essence of various acupuncture methods, utilizes different acupuncture points mechanism, and obtains unique curative effects upon reaching the disease. It holds an important place in the history of world medicine. To this day, medical researchers take the Ghost Gate 13 needles as one of the important research topics. Old Mr. Wang casually picks up a medical book and hands it to An Yang. You take this book and have a look. An Yang takes the medical book. The book is Chinese Medicine, Acupuncture, which contains detailed information about the Ghost Gate 13 needles. As the name suggests, the Ghost Gate 13 needles consist of 13 needles, which are administered over the course of 13 days. Also, the requirements for the practitioner are very high. Any slight negligence may result in a backlash. An Yang asks, Master, have you ever applied the Ghost Gate 13 needles? No, old Mr. Wang continues. The Ghost Gate 13 needles was a forbidden needle in ancient times. It involves karma. People without considerable merit and virtue cannot use it lightly, else it could result in a reduced lifespan and a discontinuation of their offspring. Usually, doctors would not use this kind of forbidden needle carelessly. Without saying any more words, old Mr. Wang adds, the Ghost Gate 13 needles are highly unorthodox. I've been practicing medicine for many years, and I haven't seen any of my colleagues daring to use it. Not even your senior brother dare to touch it. And Yang, don't you act recklessly. It is not easy for me to come across a talented disciple like you. And Yang slightly nods. I understand, Master. Can I take this book home to study it further? You may. Upon returning home, An Yang begins to focus on studying the Ghost Gate 13 needles. She wants to cure Jianghu. She is determined to cure Jianghu. Her sixth sense tells her that Jianghu must know something. Zheng Xianjing sits at a window seat, her gaze constantly shifting outside as if waiting for someone. After a while, a tall man with bronze skin walks in and asks, Hello, are you Miss Zheng? Zheng Xianjing is startled. Who are you? She planned to meet with a classmate. She doesn't recognize the man standing in front of her. At this point, Zheng Xianjing realizes that the usually crowded cafe is only occupied by herself and this man today. The atmosphere is eerily quiet. Who is this man? What does he want to do? My name is Wang Ziki and I am Master Du's assistant, the man says while placing a photo on the coffee table. Miss Zheng, is this you? Master Du? The Master Du from the world-famous Bund in Shanghai? Seemingly except for this Master Du, no one else would dare to call themselves as Master Du. No wonder he was able to book the entire cafe. Zheng Xianjing is thrilled, her heart pounding with excitement. Why would Master Du pay attention to her? And why did he get a photograph of her? Could it be he took a liking to her? Zheng Xianjing keeps her rising thrill in check and nods. Yes, this is me. Chapter 770. It's her under. Wang Ziki continued, Miss Zheng, did you happen to be near Dellen Road one night, 3 months ago? A normal person would definitely not remember something from that long ago. But Zheng Xianjing remembered very clearly. That night, she discovered that Mo Baichuan was with Zhao Jingrong and was severely humiliated by Jingrong. Zheng Xianjing knew that something was definitely off. She narrowed her eyes and proceeded to say, This photo was taken near an alleyway off Dellen Road. I was indeed wearing this beige coat that night. By the way, why were you taking pictures of me? Zheng Xianjing picked up the photo, a look of alertness on her face. Wang Ziki sat directly opposite Zheng Xianjing. It seems Miss Zheng remembers what happened that night. What are you trying to say? Zheng Xianjing narrowed her eyes. Did something happen that night? Wang Ziki continued, Miss Zhang, you are our savior. I assure you I won't harm you. A savior? Zhang Xianjing was stupefied, her mind racing. Then it dawned on her, Wang Ziki must have mistaken her for someone else. So what should she do now? Should she go with the flow or deny it straight away? His name was a prominent one in Shanghai's high society. If she denied it, she would lose a good opportunity to come closer to him. Moreover, a savior. If she became his savior, wouldn't she have all Shanghai at her disposal? If Shanghai was hers, she wouldn't need to worry about her old relatives not giving her the Zheng family's wealth. Even the Zheng family would be proud of her. Finally, she could show them. This was a great opportunity. Of course, Zheng Xianjing could not let it pass. Wang Ziki added, Miss Zhang, do you have any wishes to fulfill? You are his savior now, he would do anything to help you. Zheng Xianjing carefully considered her words, then replied, My initial intention to save someone was not to gain anything. Mr. Wang Ziki, don't you think your actions are very disrespectful? The implication of her words was, had she wanted something in return, she wouldn't have left after saving them. At this point, Zheng Xianjing successfully aligned herself with the role of a savior. Her words had a touch of pride to them. I apologize, that was my mistake, Wang Ziki continued. But one should repay life-saving kindness. Miss Zhang, please give us the opportunity to express our gratitude. As he finished, Wang Ziki took out a box filled with diamonds and jewelry and placed it in front of Zheng Xianjing. Miss Zhang, this is a small token of our gratitude, please accept. Having grown up in an affluent family, Zheng Xianjing immediately recognized the jewelry which came from Y country. It was once worn by a princess of Y country in the last century. As expected of him. He was indeed generous. Even though Zheng Xianjing was tempted to take the necklace of considerable value, she decided not to. As the saying goes, favors are easily forgotten. What if after taking the necklace, consider her as someone who is fond of vanity and ignore her? So, she has to bide her time to catch a bigger fish. She needs to make him remember her favor for a lifetime. Zheng Xianjing picked up her bag, stood up sharply from the chair and coolly said, No need. She was not one to love vanity. Therefore she wouldn't accept his gift. Miss Zhang. Wang Ziki followed Zheng Xianjing's steps. In a corner where Wang Ziki couldn't see, a triumphant smile played across Zheng Xianjing's lips. She had never dreamed that one day she would end up being his savior. Wang Ziki signaled a waiter who quietly stuck out a leg. Zheng Xianjing lost her balance and nearly fell. Fortunately, she grabbed the door frame to steady herself. Wang Ziki rushed forward to help her. Miss Zhang, are you all right? I'm fine. Zheng Xianjing shook her head. Wang Ziki continued, You want to go home? Let me drive you. No need, Zheng Xianjing straightforwardly rejected. We have a chauffeur at home. Also, please don't come to see me anymore. Your actions are very troubling. Even if it weren't you and him that night, I would have saved anyone else in your situation. I never intended to gain anything from it. Chapter 771. It's her _6. Upon finishing what she had to say, Zheng Xianjing turned around and left. Wang Ziki watched as Zheng Xianjing got into a black sedan before turning and heading into the cafe. As soon as he stepped in, he saw a man clad in a plain long robe walk out. It's not her. What do you mean it's not her? Wang Ziki was taken aback. Her voice is different, her height is different, and her nimbleness is different too, Yi continued. Having interacted with the woman at close quarters that night, Yi had failed to get a good look at her face, but he remembered her voice distinctly. Moreover, he recalled that when they brushed past each other, her height was level with his ears. But Zheng Xianjing was considerably shorter than Wang Ziki. Moreover, Yi noted that the kick sent towards Zheng Xianjing had been intentionally arranged to gauge her agility. If Zheng Xianjing were indeed remarkably agile, she would not have fallen easily. Miss Zheng didn't fall earlier, Wang Ziki said. That's because she held onto the door, Yi noted. Wang Ziki fell silent. After a moment's thought, he said, but she admitted that she was the one there that night. Wang Ziki was a little naive. As he himself didn't lie, he unconsciously assumed that no one else in the world did either. Running his fingers over the Buddha beads, Yi said, who wouldn't want to attract wealth to the degree that she does? He had encountered countless women like Zheng Xianjing who try to evade capture by instigating their pursuers to catch them. He was now used to their antics. Incidentally, he came today hoping to make some progress but left feeling disappointed. Could it be that Miss Zheng wasn't the one we encountered that night? Wang Ziki asked. But the car was from the Zheng family. And who else could it be if not her? Don't the Zhengs have anyone apart from Zheng Xianjing? Du Yi retorted. The Zheng family includes old Mr. Zheng and Mrs. Zheng, who are too old to be the person we're looking for. Also there are Zheng Lingling and her husband Sun Wu who were adopted by the Zhengs. However, after our investigation, it seems that Zheng Lingling didn't go out that evening and Sun Wu, a grown man, is certainly not the one. The only possible person is Zheng Xianjing. Moreover, her picture was taken by a fan, so there's nothing left to doubt, Du Yi. It was definitely Zheng Xianjing who saved us. What if this is all a coincidence? Du Yi asked in return. Wang Ziki scratched his head. Are there really so many coincidences in this world? There's no such thing as the perfect story without coincidences, Du Yi mused, running his fingers over the Buddha beads. Identifying his savior was important. Du Yi did not want to mistake her identity mistakenly. This would not only be disrespectful towards the person who saved him, but also irresponsible towards himself. Wang Ziki suddenly seemed to remember something. Right, Du Yi, the Zhengs have recently found their biological daughter, Zheng Tingting. She has a daughter herself who is about the same age as Zheng Xianjing. But the thing is, Zheng Tingting was only recently reunited with the Zhengs, so the timeline doesn't add up. With narrowed eyes, Du Yi fell silent. Finding himself at a loss, he wondered if he might have been mistaken from the start. Perhaps the person he'd seen when returning was not the one who'd come to his aid. Reflecting on this, Du Yi asked, "That night, when you were supposed to take me to the hospital and had to go back and forth on the way, how much time had passed before you got back to the mouth of the alley?" "About," Wang Ziki thought for a moment, 20 minutes or so. 20 minutes. A lot could happen in 20 minutes. No normal person would linger around a dangerous alley for 20 minutes. Moreover, when Du Yi had come out, he thought he'd seen a bicycle parked in the corner of the alley. But when he came back, the bicycle was missing. "Ziki, when you were helping me out, did you see a bicycle on the side?" Du Yi pressed on. "I don't think so." With Du Yi seriously ill, Wang Ziki had been so anxious that he didn't have the time or disposition to notice anything else. "I saw one," Du Yi remarked, eyes narrowed. "It was a Phoenix brand bicycle." Wang Ziki said, "Du Yi, are you sure you weren't hallucinating? You were severely injured and almost unconscious at the time. How could you possibly observe things so closely? I still think the person was Miss Zheng Xianjing. Had it really just been his hallucination?" As he leaned back in his chair, Du Yi tapped his fingers on the table. Then he took something out of his pocket and handed it to Wang Ziki. "Here, give this to Zheng Xianjing." It was a red velvet box that held an exquisite crystal hair clip. Under the light, it glimmered dazzlingly. What a coincidence it was. When he brushed past her, the hair clip she had on fell into his hand. Due to the urgency of the situation, he hadn't had the chance to return it to her then. "All right." Wang Ziki took the velvet box and nodded. Chapter 772, Wise Uncle Du, Ignorance. _1 After saying this, Wang Ziki asked again, "What if Zheng Xianjing doesn't accept?" Zheng Xianjing doesn't seem like a greedy person, otherwise she would not have rejected that extremely expensive necklace. Master Du was unflustered, leisurely twirling his Buddha beads. If she doesn't accept, let her see what's inside the box. Even though Wang Ziki didn't understand what Master Du meant, he still nodded. After thinking for a moment, Wang Ziki asked, "What if even after seeing what's inside the box she still doesn't accept?" Master Du glanced at Wang Ziki, "Then bring it back." "All right." Wang Ziki headed out of the room with the small velvet box. As soon as Zheng Xianjing returned, she immediately informed Zheng Lingling about the situation. Zheng Lingling was surprised and stated, "Xianjing, are you serious? This man is Master Du. Master Du is an influential figure in Shanghai. The Du family is from Shanghai and they are legendary. If Zheng Xianjing can win Master Du over, her future will be bright. Then the Zheng family will become the most prominent among all the wealthy families in Beijing." "Yes, it's true." Zheng Xianjing nodded. "Master Du's assistant personally came to see me. He even gave me a necklace that was worn by a queen from Y country last century." "Did you accept it?" Zheng Lingling asked anxiously. "I didn't," said Zheng Xianjing, shaking her head. Zheng Lingling managed to keep her emotions in control and said, "Then it's good that you didn't. A man like Master Du has seen all kinds of women. If you accepted something from him today, it would mean that you would owe each other nothing." "Who is Master Du? Isn't he surrounded by different types of women?" What Zheng Xianjing needs to do is to differentiate herself from others. Only by being different can she catch Master Du's eye. A necklace from the last century is nothing, the most important thing is to gain Master Dust's favor. Zheng Lingling truly knows men well. Zheng Xianjing then told Zheng Lingling about how she had refused Master Dust's offer. Hearing this, Zheng Lingling repeatedly nodded in agreement. Well done. Xianjing, you did an excellent job. Continue in this manner, only then will you be able to catch Master Dust's attention. With Zheng Lingling's reassurance, Zheng Xianjing felt more confident about her actions. She was beautiful and talented. As long as she used a few tricks, she was sure that Master Du would be charmed by her. With sparkling eyes, Zheng Xianjing seemed to envision the envious looks she would get from people in the future. After saying this, Zheng Lingling continued, by the way, your grandparents are coming back today. Remember to behave when they arrive, understand? Zheng Xianjing nodded impatiently. Zheng Lingling patted Zheng Xianjing on the shoulder. Bear with it for now. Once you have won over Master Du, they will have to fawn over you whether they like it or not. Okay. In the afternoon, as expected, the old Master Zheng and his wife returned, accompanied by Zheng Suyu, and Ai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui. The happy group made Zheng Xianjing and Zheng Lingling feel a little out of place. A hint of displeasure flashed through Zheng Lingling's eyes, but she still walked forward with a smile. Mom, Dad, you're finally back. While you were away, Xianjing kept talking about you. We are back, the old Mrs. Zheng nodded. Xianjing, didn't you have classes today? Zheng Xianjing shook her head. I had no class in the afternoon, and knowing that you and Granddad were returning as soon as my morning classes ended, I came back. The old Mrs. Zheng held Zheng Xianjing's hand. Good girl, it's a rarity for you to think of us. The old Mrs. Zheng had watched Zheng Xianjing grow from a baby into this graceful young woman. She truly loved this granddaughter of hers. Zheng Xianjing wore a smile on her face, but she had a cold smirk in her heart. That old hag. On the face of it, she treated Zheng Xianjing as a favored granddaughter, but behind her back she planned to divide the Zheng family's wealth among others, which was detestable. Not long after, the Zheng family had more visitors. Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao arrived, each bringing their family members with them. The old Mr. and Mrs. Zheng had been absent from home for several days, so naturally, they wanted to make a good impression now that they were back. Even a minor share of the Zheng family's wealth would be enough for them. Zheng Yingyue and Zheng Yingmei were calling everybody aunt and cousin. They couldn't have been more affectionate if they tried. In the past, when they visited the Zheng family, they would try to win Zheng Xianjing over. But now that nobody wanted Zheng Xianjing, they changed their tactics to win over the old Mrs. Zheng and Ai Tsuehua and little Ai Yun. Chapter 773, Wise Uncle Du, Ignorance. _2. Last time at the family reunion, it was clear to them, Ai Tsuehua and Ai Yang were far from being country folks. Now, making them happy was the most important thing. Zheng Xianjing sat there, her face twisted in anger, but she still maintained a polite smile. She wouldn't lower herself to the level of those who lacked discernment. Just then, a servant walked over and said, Madam, there's someone downstairs looking for Miss Xianjing. Who is it? Zheng Xianjing looked up at the servant. I don't know. The servant shook his head. Didn't he say who he was? Zheng Xianjing asked. No. The servant continued shaking his head. Don't let him wait outside, it's impolite. Xiao, let the guest in, the old Mrs. Zheng said. Yes, madam. The servant left to get the guest. Soon, the servant returned with a tall man. Zheng Xianjing's eyes brightened, the knots in her heart unraveling. She nudged Zheng Lingling's arm and whispered, Mom, he's Das assistant, Wang Ziki. Zheng Lingling gave a soft cough and said in a voice only they could hear, Good, I understand. You must be careful, do not act like the vulgar women outside and displease Du. Zheng Xianjing nodded her head. Of course she knew this. The servant brought Wang Ziki to them. Wang Ziki bent politely and said, Miss Zheng. Zheng Xianjing replied with a hint of displeasure, Why have you come again? Didn't I make myself clear this morning? As the Zheng family always emphasized manners, old Mrs. Zheng scolded with a stern face, Xianjing, how can you speak to a guest like this? Wang Ziki immediately said, Are you the Zheng parents? I'm Wang Ziki, Das assistant. I'm here today to convey Das gratitude to Miss Zheng. Did old Mrs. Zheng just squint? The Du from Shirley House? The Du from Shirley House was known to be ruthless and sharp, almost everyone in the circle knew him. Hearing this, Shangguan Dehui also looked at Wang Ziki. He had heard about Das feats, but he had not expected to meet Das assistant today. Yes, Wang Ziki nodded. 3 months ago, Du was in danger in an alleyway on Dellen Road. Luckily, A woman with heroic spirit rescued him. After investigation, it was found that the woman was Miss Zhang. Du has been wanting to express his gratitude, but Miss Zhang has refused. What? Zhang Xianjing saved Du? She was Du's life-saving benefactor. Hearing this, everyone looked at Zhang Xianjing in disbelief. Zhang Xianjing just stood there, her face unchanged but her heart was racing. This Wang Ziki arrived just in time. Those people who didn't want to interact with her earlier must now be regretting it. With that, Wang Ziki turned to Zhang Xianjing and said, Miss Zhang, Du would really like to express his gratitude. By the way, this is a gift from Du, please accept it. Wang Ziki spoke while opening a red velvet box as per Du's orders. In the velvet box was a dazzling crystal hairpin with delicate tassels. It looked stunning. This was a gift from Du. Must be worth a lot. Zhang Yingyue and Zhang Yingmei looked on in envy, their hearts filled with bitterness. They stretched their necks in an attempt to see what was in the box. Most girls liked shiny jewelry. Unfortunately, she was not an ordinary girl. Zhang Xianjing looked at the hairpin and then calmly looked away. Take it back. I won't accept this. She refused. Zhang Xianjing actually refused. No one expected Zhang Xianjing to decline Du's gift. Zhang Yingyue was looking with regret in her eyes, wishing she could rush forward and accept the gift on Zhang Xianjing's behalf. Miss Zhang, this is a token of Du's gratitude, said Wang Ziki. Zhang Lingling chimed in, Sir, Xianjing has already made herself clear, please kindly take your gift and leave. Wang Ziki looked troubled. Please leave, Zhang Xianjing continued, and do not come again. Chapter 774, Wise Uncle Du, Ignorance, _3. Madame Zhang said, Sir, as the Buddha says, saving a life is more meritorious than building a 7-storied pagoda. Xianjing saved Mr. Du. She is indeed amassing virtue for herself. Since she doesn't wish to accept these gifts, please take them back. Madame Zhang was very pleased that Zhang Xianjing was so reasonable. Others may not be as indifferent when faced with wealth and power. Wang Ziki bent slightly towards Madame Zhang. I will come to visit you again. Madame Zhang nodded. With no other option, Wang Ziki had to leave with the unaccepted gifts. After Wang Ziki left, the initially quiet living room immediately became lively. Madame Zhang looked at Zhang Xianjing. Xianjing, why didn't you tell us about this? Zhang Xianjing said, It was just a matter of convenience, I didn't think it was worth mentioning, so I didn't tell you. Zhang Lingling said, Xianjing has always had a kind heart since she was a child, she wouldn't even hurt an ant on the road. Madame Zhang nodded in satisfaction. Zhang Sheng looked at Zhang Xianjing with a fawning smile. Saving Mr. Du is not a small matter. You see, Mr. Du is a big shot in Shanghai. Xianjing, I'm your uncle. When you have time, please speak on my behalf in front of Mr. Du, so your cousin Ming, we can also benefit from your good deed. Zhang Sheng and his children are all typical snobs. Just a moment ago they hadn't shown this much enthusiasm. A sarcastic smile formed at the corner of Zhang Xianjing's mouth. Uncle, you joke too much. I don't have the ability to speak on your behalf in front of Mr. Du. Moreover, why would a high-profile person like Mr. Du listen to my ramblings? I'm not joking, how could this be a joke? Zhang Sheng responded, You're the one who saved Mr. Du's life. Zhang Xianjing took a sip of tea and did not say a word. Zheng Gao then added, Dear niece, while you're thinking about your cousin Ming Hui, don't forget your cousin Ming Ming. A group of shameless people. Zhang Xianjing put her teacup on the table, turned to Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao laughed. Isn't it surprising how you uncles suddenly remembered me just now? Even a clay figure has its own temper. Did they really think they could toy with her? An embarrassed look flashed across the faces of Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao, regretting the fact that they had ignored Zhang Xianjing earlier. They had to change the subject. Sweet niece, there you go joking again. Madame Zheng looked at Zhang Xianjing and continued, Xianjing, it was right of you not to accept Mr. Du's gifts. We, the Zheng family, should behave with such grace. Zhang Xianjing nodded, Thank you, grandmother, for your praise. With such an accomplished daughter, even Zheng Lingling seemed brighter. She puffed up her chest, her gaze landed on Enai Tsuehua, her eyes hardening. Just wait, one of these days she would kick this country bumpkin out of the Zheng family's door. In just a moment the tone around them shifted. The guests who had just been flattering Enai Tsuehua, now turned their boats and headed for Zheng Lingling and Zheng Xianjing's side. Enai Tsuehua sighed in silence. It is true that the human heart is the most fickle thing in the world. But it also allowed Enai Tsuehua to see the true faces of some people clearly. She initially thought that Jing Xing and Jing Gao, these two family members, were very kind. Now it seems they are not simple at all. Sun Wu was at work during the day. When he received the news in the evening, he became so happy that he felt like he was about to go crazy. "Oh my God! My daughter is so awesome." Zheng Lingling said, "What use is it for your daughter to be so awesome? Aren't you still a sure loser?" If only Sun Wu had a bit of talent, ownership of the Zheng Corporation would have long been transferred. She wouldn't have needed to work so hard. "As long as my daughter has the ability, what does it matter if I'm useless?" Sun Wu retorted, "When Mr. Du will also call me his father-in-law, countless people in Beijing and Shanghai will be envious of me." Zheng Lingling nodded in agreement. "You are right about that. However, Xianjing wants to marry Mr. Mog. Although Mr. Du is powerful, he is still a bit lacking compared to Mr. Mog. Although Mr. Du is a tycoon, Mr. Mog is indeed internationally renowned. These two men belong to the one mountain cannot contain two tigers, kind." Sun Wu continued, "After all, Mr. Mog is virtual, while Mr. Du is concrete, and he came to us on his own initiative. Don't they always say in the old times, to repay someone's life-saving grace, one should promise their body? I think Xianjing should hold on firmly to Mr. Du. Otherwise we'll end up with neither the chicken nor the eggs and we won't get anything." Chapter 775. Wise Uncle Du, Ignorance, _4. One might say that Sun Wu doesn't usually stand out, and that wouldn't be a false claim. Zheng Lingling kept nodding her head. "Yes, you're right. I'll go talk to Xianjing right now." Zheng Lingling went to Zheng Xianjing's bedroom where Xianjing was sitting on the sofa watching television. "Mom." Zheng Lingling nodded, conveying Sun Wu's words to Zheng Xianjing. "Xianjing, I think your dad is right. You have to seize this opportunity to win over Mr. Du." Zheng Xianjing smiled and said, "Mom, don't worry, I've got this." "Give up on Mr. Mog? Impossible. She wants to marry Mr. Mog and at the same time she wants to have Mr. Du fall for her, willing to give all for her." With that, Zheng Xianjing continued, "Mom, when do you say I should stop rejecting Mr. Du?" Zheng Lingling spoke with a smile on her lips. "Until he comes to see you himself." "Will he come?" Zheng Xianjing was a bit worried. "What if he doesn't come to see me?" "Don't worry," Zheng Lingling patted Zheng Xianjing's hand. "He will. Zheng Lingling understands men well. Zheng Xianjing's rebellious behavior would pique any man's interest and curiosity. How could Mr. Du not come? After all, what you can't have is always the most appealing." After saying all this, Zheng Lingling returned to her own room. Wang Ziki went directly to Mr. Du's residence. Mr. Du sat at a desk by the window reading Buddhist scriptures. Without lifting his head at the sound of footsteps, he asked, "Was the item delivered?" "No." Wang Ziki shook his head, placing the small velvet box on the desk. "Not delivered. As expected." Mr. Du's face didn't show any expression. "You found the wrong person." "What?" Wang Ziki was taken aback. Mr. Du calmly turned a page of the Buddhist scripture. "Zheng Xianjing is not the one who saved us that night. No need to look for her anymore. Fortunately, she didn't accept the necklace he offered before. Otherwise he would have made a loss-making deal. Mr. Du never made a bad deal." "On what basis are you sure that she wasn't the person from that night?" Wang Ziki asked. To Wang Ziki, Zheng Xianjing seemed to be that person from the night. Otherwise the coincidence would be too much. Because no one would reject their own things. If Zheng Xianjing's initial rejection of the necklace was because she was indifferent to fame and wealth, why would she reject this hairpin? Could she not recognize her own belongings? She was clearly playing hard to get. Did she think Mr. Du was like the impressionable young boys out there? Ignorant. Mr. Du lightly curled his lips. Wang Ziki didn't understand Mr. Du's meaning. Mr. Du didn't bother explaining further. He simply said, "This matter still needs to be investigated." Wang Ziki scratched his head. "Mr. Du, are you sure Zheng Xianjing is not that person?" "No," Mr. Du replied indifferently. Wang Ziki continued, "But that car definitely belongs to the Zheng family." Mr. Du turned another page of the Buddhist scripture. The person in the car that night was Zheng Xianjing, and the person photographed by the fans was Zheng Xianjing, but Zheng Xianjing was not the person who appeared in the alley. If my guess is correct, the real person who saved me should be the owner of that Phoenix brand bicycle. At certain times, people may have a strong sixth sense. Mr. Du trusted his own sixth sense. Because the person who could save him was definitely not an ordinary vain woman. But this Zheng Xianjing, she was more vain than the average. She even tried the old trick of playing hard to get. How cliched. Wang Ziki scratched his head. Mr. Du, are you sure that Phoenix bike wasn't just a hallucination? He always felt that the bicycle was a hallucination of Mr. Du's. No. Despite his serious injuries at the time, Mr. Du was certain it was not a hallucination. With that, Mr. Du stood up from the chair, turned his Buddhist scriptures over, opened the lid of the incense burner and stoked the burning incense. You go ahead. Come and tell me when you found out the truth. Okay. Wang Ziki nodded, turned and walked out the door. Since he couldn't find the real savior, Wang Ziki had to start over with his investigation. This time he looked into everyone in Beijing who had bought a Phoenix brand bicycle, and began investigating them one by one. Both Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao were extremely vain. Despite being warned by Mrs. Zheng not to spread around the news about Zheng Xianjing saving people, in less than a day, the whole circle of aristocracy had heard about it. Chapter 776, Wise Uncle Du Ignorance, _5. Keep in mind, Zheng Xianjing is their grandniece. The grandniece's glory is their glory. Master Du is not someone ordinary rich families can get in touch with. Who wouldn't be envious of Zheng Xianjing at this moment? Those who had previously ignored Zheng Xianjing were now back flattering her in every possible way. Flattery is built on belittling others. To flatter someone you must relentlessly belittle someone. Thus, Ni Yang became the one everyone was stepping on. Even though Mr. Abner supported Ni Yang, how could Mr. Abner compare to Master Du? Abner is from F country, his power is in F country. In China he is just a wealthy foreigner. Xianjing who is Ni Yang? She's just a country bumpkin. You, on the other hand, are a legitimate rich and noble lady. What can she compare with you? Zheng Xianjing, as proud as a peacock, lifted the corners of her mouth into a triumphant smile. Siyu, do you really think so? Zhang Siyu nodded, of course it's true. Zheng Xianjing laughed softly, intending to embarrass her. But didn't I hear you say a while ago that blood is thicker than water? How can a foster daughter compare to a biological one? Zhang Siyu looked somewhat embarrassed and pretended to have forgotten. Did I? I don't remember saying that. We've been sisters for so many years, Xianjing, how could I say that about you? Zheng Xianjing pointed at her ear. I heard you loud and clear, was it not so? It seems that Zheng Xianjing is not going to let this matter go today. Zhang Siyu said with a forced smile. Xianjing, my dear sister, even if I said that, can't you forgive me just this once for not seeing the bigger picture? It's all my fault for underestimating people. If it were not for Zheng Xianjing's current success, who would be willing to put up with her mood? Look at her smug expression. In her heart, Zhang Siyu cursed Zheng Xianjing 1,000 times. Zheng Xianjing glanced at Zhang Siyu. Siyu, you were right about one thing, you should never underestimate people. Zhang Siyu forced a smile, echoing, yes, you're right, Xianjing. So, can you forgive me now? Since you admitted you were looking down on people, how about doing an impersonation of a dog's bark for me? Zheng Xianjing continued. At these words, a ripple of laughter went around the room. The wealthy daughters looked at each other, seeing the amusement in each other's eyes. Even the usual sisterhood was gone, and no one came forward to mediate the situation. Such was the plasticky sisterhood of the wealthy households. Zhang Siyu's face turned green and white. Xianjing, stop kidding. Zheng Xianjing turned to Zhang Siyu. I'm not joking with you. Zhang Siyu took a deep breath, opened her mouth and under enormous pressure made a dog's bark. The room immediately erupted in laughter. Zheng Xianjing burst out laughing, surprised. Siyu, I was just kidding with you, I didn't expect you to actually bark like a dog. Zhang Siyu stared at Zheng Xianjing. What are you talking about? Zheng Xianjing repeated, I said I was joking. I didn't expect you to take it seriously. To gain Master Du's protection would you even abandon all dignity? But your barking really does sound like a dog. While saying the last two sentences, Zheng Xianjing burst into laughter and everyone else joined in. Their laughter was like a thorn piercing Zhang Siyu all over. She was utterly humiliated. Zhang Siyu's fury was instantly ignited by Zheng Xianjing. She stood up abruptly. A joke? Zheng Xianjing, you dare to joke about this? Zheng Xianjing had a hint of smile on her lips. What? Angry and embarrassed? When you were humiliating me, you never thought this day would come. Zhang Siyu was so angry that she was shaking all over. She grabbed her bag and stormed off. Even if Zheng Xianjing never had the intention to forgive her from the start, she shouldn't have toyed with her like this. This was too hateful. Zheng Xianjing didn't care about this matter. a mere Xianxia wasn't worthy of her attention. These days, Zheng Xianjing received many gifts, including jewelry, the supreme skincare products with a radiant glow, and a VIP membership card from a famous boutique. Looking at these precious and luxurious gifts, Zheng Xianjing once again realized the importance of power. Chapter 777, Wise Uncle Do Ignorance, _6. Take for instance the coveted membership card to Guisei Tianxiang. It's not something you can simply buy with money, you have to seize the right moment. She had heard of Guisei Tianxiang before and always wanted to go, but there was always a queue, and she hated having to lower herself to wait in a line, so it remained just a thought. Now someone was actually offering her a membership card and pleading for her to accept it. These days, Zheng Xianjing had been feeling extraordinarily pleased with herself, but gradually she started to become restless. Because Wang Ziki hadn't visited her for a week. That's not right. Logically speaking, Wang Ziki should have come long ago. Could something have gone wrong? Zheng Xianjing promptly went to Zheng Lingling to discuss her concerns. Mom, what do you think is going on? Zheng Lingling didn't take this matter to heart and laughed, saying, there's nothing to worry about. If Master Du is trying to test you, hanging you out to dry for a month is normal. For now, all you need to do is keep still. Don't be like an ant on a hot pan, then you wouldn't be any different from those vulgar fans. Playing hard to get wasn't only a strategy women used, men of power and influence would use it too. After her speech, Zheng Lingling gave a meaningful reminder. Xianjing, if you want to achieve something big, you have to be patient. The longer you lay low, the greater the rewards. Being reassured by Zheng Lingling like this made Zheng Xianjing feel a lot better. Mom, you're right. I know what to do. Zheng Lingling nodded. Good. There weren't many classes in school these days, so Zheng Xianjing stayed home every day. Those who wanted to curry favor with her were practically trampling over the Zheng household's doorstep. Seeing so many visitors bringing gifts to Zheng Xianjing every day, Mrs. Zheng couldn't help but say, Xianjing, there's an old saying that one shouldn't accept rewards for nothing. Isn't it a bit inappropriate to accept these gifts from other people? Inappropriate? What's inappropriate about it? These weren't things she wanted, but things others were pleading for her to accept. That old hag, she's only being critical because Ni Yang's popularity had been overshadowed by her. She was too much. Zheng Xianjing said with a smile, Grandmother, I understand what you're saying. I don't want to accept their gifts either, but they insist on giving them to me. Furthermore, they haven't asked me to do anything in return. They give me gifts and I also return gifts to them. This is normal among friends. Upon hearing this, Mrs. Zheng felt somewhat relieved. It's fine as long as you're returning gifts. Us Zhengs shouldn't do anything to provoke gossip. Ni Yang had been very busy recently. She had to study the 13 ghost needle techniques, manage the sound system at the shop, visit the noodle restaurant, milk tea shop, iSkin J body shop, and Guisei Tianxiang regularly, and also find time to take her school exams. After the exams, Ni Yang and Han Xiaoyu went home together. Han Xiaoyu didn't have a bike, so Ni Yang was able to give her a ride. When they reached their destination, Han Xiaoyu jumped off from the back seat. Yang, there's still time, why don't you come to my house and hang out? In her previous life, Ni Yang didn't have many close friends, so in this life, she felt especially grateful for any friendships that came her way. She nodded, sure. Han Xiaoyu comes from an average wage-earning family. Both her parents worked in the factory. Her father, Han Xingli, was the factory manager, her mother was the workshop director, and the two of them earned a combined monthly salary of 120 yuan. They had 3 children and owned a house in Beijing, living life neither too well off nor too poorly. They were an upper-middle-class family. Mom, this is my classmate Ni Yang. She's our school's campus beauty and the all-rounder I've been telling you about, who jumped grades and even came first in the exams. Just call her Yang. All parents like high-achieving girls. On hearing Han Xiaoyu say this, Han's mother was quick to say, oh, this is Ni Yang. So the good student looks like this. Come on in and have a seat, come on in and have a seat. Xiaoyu has told me all about you. You don't mind if I call you Yang, do you? Ni Yang is not only an excellent student but also very attractive. It's hard not to like her. I don't mind. Ni Yang shook her head with a smile. That's what names are for. Just look at the way this girl speaks. Everything about Ni Yang seemed perfect to Han's mom. On the other hand, Xiaoyu could do no right in her eyes. In conclusion, all the good daughters belong to others. Seeing Ni Yang's manners, Han's mother couldn't help but offer her the treasured oranges from home. Yang, have an orange. Don't hesitate to make yourself at home at Andy's place. I heard from Xiaoyu that you've helped her a lot with her studies. Thank you so much. Ever since she became Ni Yang's classmate, Xiaoyu's grades had significantly improved. The teacher even said it was a sure thing that she would get into a university. Ni Yang chuckled, Auntie, you don't have to be so formal. It's normal for classmates to help each other. Her words resonated deeply with Han's mother, and she thought to herself how considerate and endearing this girl was. Han's mother hurriedly peeled an orange for Ni Yang. Yang, eat up and don't be a stranger to Auntie. Ni Yang took the fruit with a word of thanks. Thank you, Auntie. Han's mother said, you girls chat. I'll go out and take a walk. Young people have their own topics to chat about. She couldn't contribute to the conversation and would rather go out and have a chat with some friends. It's hard to find a day to rest. Ni Yang nodded, take care, Auntie. After Han's mother left, Han Xiaoyu said, Yang, do you know? My mom is usually very tight-fisted, and this is the first time she's been so generous. When Han's mother took out the oranges, Xiaoyu was shocked. She couldn't believe the woman in front of her was the same person who had argued and fought over a needle. Ni Yang laughed and said, I think Auntie is quite nice, she's very reasonable. Han Xiaoyu made a merciless comment about her own mother. She is quite reasonable, but she tends to be stingy and stubborn. You don't know this, but years ago she had a fight with Aunt Wang over a needle. Now the two of them wouldn't speak to each other even when they crossed paths. Just then, footsteps could be heard outside. Is Aunt Han home? Who is it? My mom is not home, come on in. Han Xiaoyu called out without looking up. In a short while, the visitor came in from the yard. Sister Xiaoyu, you're home. Erase the 2 yuan I borrowed from your house last time. I'm returning it to you. Yun. Han Xiaoyu stood up from her chair. By the way, how's your grandmother? Is she feeling better? Wu Yun nodded. She's much better after taking the medicine. That's good, Han Xiaoyu said. Let me introduce you, Yun. This is my classmate and good friend Ni Yang. Yang, this is Wu Yun, one of our neighbors. Just call her Yun. Ni Yang walked over with a smile. Nice to meet you. Chapter 778. Direct Confrontation. What is her name? _1 Typically beautiful people have always had a knack for making lasting impressions. Wu Yun couldn't help but feel a sense of familiarity with the pretty young lady standing in front of her. Before she could gather her thoughts, Ni Yang initiated, Yun, do we know each other from somewhere? Standing slightly shorter than Ni Yang, Wu Yun tethered somewhere around 5 feet 4, her body thin, her complexion somewhat yellow from what could be attributed to long periods of malnutrition, which also seemed to have tinged her hair the same shade of yellow. Her features were distinct, her big eyes full of life and animated, almost as though they were capable of speech. In the almost May weather, she was still wearing a quilted cotton jacket, evidently indicative of her family's dire economic situation. Wu Yun had not expected such friendly and warm behavior from the young lady. She didn't seem to mind Yun's dirty appearance, and suddenly it hit Yun. You were the one riding the bike on the street that day, right? Once Yun said this, Ni Yang started to remember. Yes. That's right. Did you get injured then? During that occasion, Wu Yun had left in such a rush that Ni Yang hadn't been able to ascertain whether she had been injured or not. Wu Yun smiled and replied, No, I'm all right. Your bike didn't even touch me last time. That's good to hear. Visibly surprised, Han Xiaoyu questioned, Yang, you and Yun know each other? Ni Yang explained the entire incident to Han Xiaoyu, laughing as she recounted their strange meeting. Han Xiaoyu nodded, Oh, so that's what happened. Wu Yun did have chores to do back home and could not stay for too long. After a brief chat, she prepared to depart. Xiaoyu Yang, I should get going. Han Xiaoyu continued, Oh, by the way, Yun, when will you start school? At her words, Wu Yun wore a dispirited look on her face. My mom just had another baby, I can't leave the house for a while. I have no clue when he'll be able to attend school. Han Xiaoyu chose not to say anything more, but asked her to wait a moment. Wait here. I'll be back. All right. Wu Yun gave a nod. Han Xiaoyu ran back into the house and returned shortly after with a red plastic bag. Yun, this is for you. The bag contained a few leftover pancakes from breakfast and 2 oranges. Wu Yun declined right away. Xiaoyu, I cannot accept this. You should take it back. Han Xiaoyu insisted. Keep it. We can't finish it all anyway. Don't hesitate. Just take it. You should head back now. Your baby brother might start crying again. Then thank you, Xiaoyu. In those times no one was wealthy enough. Han Xiaoyu's generosity touched Wu Yenyun deeply. After Wu Yenyun had left, Han Xiaoyu shared Yanyun's domestic conditions with Ai Yang. Wu Yanyun's father was disabled and could only perform some manual labor. Despite her mother's competence, a woman having so many children left her crushed under the burden of life. Wu Yanyun's family was, therefore, in a very bad situation. That's why Wu Yenyun was still wearing a quilted cotton jacket even in mid-May. Regardless of the era, there are always the rich and the poor. Equality of wealth always remains an unfeasible dream. Ai Yang was left sighing after hearing this. On returning home, Wu Yenyun found her two brothers playing in the mud and the other one sleeping soundly in his crib. Her two brothers, 9 and 7 respectively, were both of school-going age but unable to attend due to their family circumstances. How could Wu Yenyun burden her mother with the need for her own education? Wu Yenyun divided the 3 oranges into 5 parts. For her father, her mother, her 2 brothers and her grandmother. Big sis, where'd you get these oranges? They are so sweet. Delicious. Her elder brother Wu Dalong swallowed all his share in one gulp. Her younger brother Wu Erlong looked at the 3 pieces of orange in his hand and immediately offered them to Wu Yenyun. Big sis, I don't like sour food. I want to eat it but you can have it. He wanted to keep the oranges for his older sister because when there were good things, she always thought of them first while going without herself. Wu Yenyun patted Wu Erlong's little head, smiling. You have it. Big sis has already eaten. These oranges aren't sour. They are sweet. Big sis, you should have it. I don't feel like eating them. Wu Erlong showed a reluctant face. Wu Yenyun understood her little brother's sentiment. Eat it soon or I will give it to Dalong. On hearing that he could have another piece of orange, Wu Dalong's eyes lit up with excitement. Chapter 779. Direct Confrontation. What is her name? _2. Upon hearing that the orange was for Wu Dalong, Wu Erlong immediately retracted his hand. Then I'll eat it myself. Wu Dalong wasn't happy. Erlong, didn't you say you didn't like it? That was just now I do. Wu Erlong quickly stuffed the orange into his mouth. Wu Yenyun watched the exchange between his 2 younger brothers with amusement before walking towards their grandmother's room. Their grandmother was a product of the feudal society and still had bound feet. As such, she was incapable of heavy labor and mostly stayed at home. Grandma, here is an orange. Wu Yenyun offered the orange to his grandmother. Give it to Dalong and Erlong, I don't really like it, replied his grandmother after a glance. Please try it. Both Dalong and Erlong have already had theirs. Wu Yenyun said. No, take it to your parents. I don't want it. His grandmother shook her head. Elders often tend to keep the best for the younger ones, disregarding their own needs. Mom and Dad also have their share. I'll leave it here for you, said Wu Yenyun, placing the orange on the table. If I say take it away, take it away. Grandma Wu suddenly raised her voice. You stubborn girl, why do you always argue with me? Having no other choice, Wu Yenyun took back the orange. Your parents work so hard during the day, let them have a bit more. Grandma Wu advised. All right. Wu Yenyun nodded in agreement. Returning to her room, Wu Yenyun found her youngest brother, Wu Xiaolong, awake. Wu Xiaolong was just 3 months old. At his fussiest time now, he demanded to be carried the moment he awoke. Yan Erge's breast milk didn't flow well. Her children were not plump and fair as one might expect but rather lean and slightly dark-skinned. While Wu Yenyun was holding her brother in the yard, a plump middle-aged woman entered. Yenyun is at home. Yes, I am. Wu Yenyun stood up. Landlady Auntie is here. The landlady's surname was also Wu Wulan. She was the complete opposite of the Wu family. They were all dark and slender, while she was fair and tubby, looking as if she carried several swim rings around her waist. It's mid-month, did you prepare the rent? Wulan inquired. Wu Yenyun nodded. I'll fetch it right away. The rent was 10 yuan a month. Despite being in financial straits, the Wu family never defaulted on their rent. Wulan was a kind person. Knowing the Wu family's condition, she only charged them 10 yuan a month for rent originally worth 12 yuan. Wu Yenyun fetched a 10 yuan note that her mother had prearranged and handed it to Wulan. Landlady Auntie, please take this. After accepting the money, Wulan glanced into the room. Yenyun, are your parents not at home? Wu Yenyun nodded. Wulan sighed. It's tough on you bearing such burden at such a young age. Which family in Beijing would have a girl this young drop out of school to take care of her siblings? But then again there was no other choice. Grandma Wu couldn't do manual labor due to her bound feet, and her 3 brothers were still young. Wu Yinyun shook her head. "I'm not suffering, landlady auntie." Wu Lan smiled. "Auntie knows you're capable." Not only was she capable but she was also pretty. With those big eyes and prominent nose, which other girl in the neighborhood could compete? If she got an education, went to university, she could become a golden phoenix. What a pity though, wrong family. Just then Grandma Wu came out of the room, leaning on her walking stick. "Eh? Auntie, it's me." Wu Lan greeted enthusiastically. Grandma Wu approached slowly. "Oh, it's Lanzi. Auntie, I was just praising Yinyun. Not only is she pretty but she's also so sensible. You'll be blessed in the future." A smile didn't cross Grandma Wu's face. "We're so impoverished, what use is beauty? It can't be eaten like rice or spent like cash. The rich derive pleasure from beauty. But what use does a poor person have for beauty? Beauty can't save you from hunger." Wu Lan forced a smile. "Well, Auntie, I've got other things to do. I won't bother you more. I have to leave now." "Go on with your work. Don't let an old ruin like me hold you up," nodded Grandma Wu. After Wu Lan left, Grandma Wu returned to her small room with the help of her walking stick. The thing Grandma Wu did most every day was spacing out in front of the window. Her son and daughter-in-law were struggling so much. She wished she could help, but regretfully there wasn't much she could do about it. After calming down her little brother, it was time for Wu Yinyun to prepare dinner. The rice jar was almost empty. Watered-down rice porridge was the only option. The leftovers from the restaurant a few days ago had long been eaten. Fortunately, there were still pancakes given by Han Xiaoyu, enough to scrape together a meal for the night. Chapter 780, Direct Confrontation. What is her name? _3. Wu Yinyun stewed porridge while holding her younger brother. By the time the porridge was ready, Yan Erju and Wu Jinshu had returned home. Yan Erju worked at the rice shop, carrying 150 caddies of rice per bag for 2 cents. 10 bags of rice amounted to 1 cent, and Yan Erju could carry 60 bags a day, earning about 1.2 yuan a day. But not every day of the month had work at the rice shop. On average, only 15 days of the month did, which meant that Yan Erju made about 18 yuan a month. Because of his disabilities, Wu Jinshu could only do odd jobs at the construction site, earning only 0.2 yuan a day. The couple's combined monthly income was 24 yuan. But with 4 children to raise and other necessities, housing, water and electricity to pay for, they were almost always in debt by the end of the month. Wu Yinyun was a very sensible little girl. Yan Erju and Wu Dalong were busy with work so they didn't have to worry about the house, which Wu Yinyun kept tidy. Wu Yinyun served the food on the table. "Mom, Dad, dinner's ready." Dinner was very simple, just porridge and pancakes with a side of pickles. Yan Erju nodded approvingly. "Was Xiaolong a good boy today?" Wu Yinyun replied, "Xiaolong was very good." "That's good to hear." Yan Erju loved her eldest daughter very much. If it weren't for her, their family might not pull through. Despite their struggles, life wasn't that terrible. Wu Yinyun brought out some oranges. "Mom, Dad, have some oranges." Wu Jinshu was surprised. "Xiaoyan, where did you get these oranges from?" They could certainly not afford to buy oranges considering their current state. Wu Yinyun explained, "Oh, never mind that. Dad doesn't like oranges. Dalong, you and Erlong can have these." Dalong happily took the orange. Erju, with hands empty, smiled. "I don't like them either, Erlong. You can have it." Wu Erlong shook his head. "Sis already gave me one. You should have it, Mom." "I don't want it." Wu Erlong still refused. "I want it." Wu Dalong, ever the glutton, took the orange from Yan Erju and began to eat it hungrily. Wu Yinyun reprimanded him. "You are such a glutton." Dalong made a face at Wu Yinyun. Yan Erju laughed. "He's the younger one, Xiaoyan. You should let him have his way." Despite being reasonable, Wu Yinyun still felt upset as she felt Dalong was too unreasonable. Yan Erju, on the other hand, felt it was just normal for kids. Once they've grown up, they would understand. During dinner, Wu Yinyun said, "Mom, our landlord came for the rent today. Did you pay it?" Yan Erju asked. Wu Yinyun nodded. "I did." Then she added, "By the way, Mom, we're out of rice at home." Although this topic was a bit heavy, it had to be addressed. Without rice there would be no meals. Yan Erju took 2 yuan out of her pocket. "I just received this as my pay today. Spend it carefully." 2 yuan was a significant amount for the Wu family, but Yan Erju trusted Wu Yinyun. She knew her eldest daughter wouldn't spend money frivolously. Okay. Wu Yinyun nodded. Just as she did, Wu Jinshu finished his meal and she went to serve him more. Granny Wu, who usually ate 3 bowls of porridge, put down her chopsticks after only 2 bowls. I'm full. I'm going to bed. In those hard times people ate less. Wu Jinshu was surprised. Mom, why did you eat so little today? I can't eat any more. Granny Wu replied. It wasn't that she couldn't eat any more or that she was full, she just wanted to save a bit more. She was old and if she could save she would let the children eat more. The kitchen was at the other end of the yard. As she was returning to her room, Granny Wu bumped into Wu Yinyun who was bringing back rice. Wu Yinyun asked, Granny, have you finished eating? Granny Wu nodded, I'm done. Then, as though she had just remembered something, she added, we don't have enough food at home. Your dad and mom work hard every day and Dalong, Erlong and Xiaolong are all growing children. You and I are the only ones who don't work, let's eat less. After saying this, Granny Wu turned and walked towards her room. Wu Yinyun was startled. It took her a moment to understand what Granny Wu meant. Chapter 781. Direct Confrontation. What is her name? _4. She felt wronged. Even on the verge of tears. But she kept them at bay. She's the elder sister. She mustn't cry. Wu Yinyun took a deep breath. After composing herself, she finally stepped into the room. At dinner, her father Wu Jinshu noticed something was amiss. Xiaoyun, why are you eating so little today? Wu Yinyun laughed and replied, I was making pancakes in the afternoon and my stomach was grumbling so I ate a couple atop, and now I can't eat any more. Wu Jinshu said, it's been hours since the afternoon, shouldn't you be hungry by now? Dad, I'm not hungry, do you think I'm a fool who doesn't know to eat when hungry? Wu Yinyun responded. Then Yin Erju chimed in, Xiaoyun, you must eat. Even though we are poor, we still have money to afford food. Wu Yinyun laughed, Mom, where is your mind wandering off to? Seeing that Shed indeed had enough, her parents said no more about it. After dinner, Wu Yinyun started the dishes and cleaning. Wu Erlong hurried over to help. Sister, let me dry the dishes for you. Wu Yinyun said, thank you Erlong. Just then, a voice came from outside the kitchen. Dalong Erlong, come over here. Grandma is calling me, I'll go first. Wu Erlong put down the dish. Go ahead. Off the brothers went into Grandma's tiny room. Grandma, what do you need us for? Wu Dalong asked. Grandma stealthily brought out a greasy package from behind her. See what this is. On realizing the package contained 3 lard pancakes, Wu Dalong exclaimed excitedly, ah, lard. Grandma quickly shushed him. Why are you yelling? Do you want to bring everyone here? Wu Dalong nodded. With so many mouths to feed, would there be enough to go around? Wu Dalong nodded again. Grandma doled out a pancake each to Wu Dalong and Wu Erlong. Left one for Wu Jinshu. Given Wu Jinshu's poor health, it would be a good fortifier. These 3 pancakes were sent by Grandma Wu's daughter earlier in the day. She saved them until now, waiting for Jinshu to return so that she could give them to the children. Knowing Dalong's nature, Erlong didn't refuse. He stuffed the pancake into his pocket. Thank you, Grandma. Silly child, why be polite with your grandma? Just remember to hide it from others. Grandma Wu advised. Wu Erlong nodded in reply. At bedtime, once Wu Erlong heard his brother snoring, he stealthily crossed over to the other side. His elder sister was sleeping next door. The 3 siblings actually slept in one room, but Jinshu had segregated the room with a curtain in consideration of their genders. Short on rooms and cash-strapped to rent a larger house, they had to resort to such measures. It was all pushed by life's harsh circumstances. Elder sister. Wu Erlong gently nudged Wu Yinyun. What's wrong, Erlong? Wu Yinyun rubbed her eyes. Elder sister, I have something for you. Wu Erlong pressed a tantalizing item into Wu Yanyun's palm, which instantly made her mouth water, given she hadn't had her fill at dinner. A lard pancake? Where did you get it? Wu Yinyun asked. Wu Erlong answered, Grandma gave it to me secretly. Please eat it quickly, I've already had one. As he finished, he made a beeline for his own bed. Wu Yanyun's eyes welled up, barely holding back her tears. This lard pancake was, in her memory, the most delicious one she'd ever tasted. Years later, she still remembered this particular night vividly. Her grandmother subtly hinted to her not to eat too much and to save food, while her little brother presented her with a lard pancake. There's no price tag on love. Wu Yinyun had choked down that pancake with tears in her eyes. Enai Tsuehua and Shengguan Dehui moved to the Zheng family's house again. Naturally, Enai Yan went with them. The Zheng family had been bustling these days with a constant flow of guests. Whenever Zheng Xianjing passed Enai Yan, she held her head high, extremely proud, even though Enai Yan had no clue what she was so smug about. In the living room, Zheng Lingling made Zheng Xianjing the center of attention, smilingly saying, "Mom and Dad, I heard there's a newly opened restaurant in Beijing that's doing great business. The food is absolutely delicious and the ambience is excellent as well. The only drawback is the membership card requirement. If you don't have one, you will have to queue with many others. Those with membership cards, however, will be provided with private rooms." Chapter 782, Direct Confrontation. What is her name? _5. Enai Yang gave a smiling response. "Just my face is enough." You're referring to the Gus Tianxiang restaurant, aren't you? A contemptuous voice sounded hearing from the words side. Gus Tianxiang, the speaker was Enai Kui, whose expression shifted subtly. She had to do a good job of kissing up to Zheng Xianjing, who was in her moment of glory. Flesh, and Gus Tianxiang didn't get angry, continuing, so she didn't even tell the Zheng family. Doesn't believe me, the Zheng family, not to mention Shengguan Dehui, didn't have a clear understanding didn't believe a word this country bumpkin Enai Yang was saying. Not her best friend was also bring them up to show off. VIP customer, and she had never heard of country bumpkin identification service to even know about Gus Tianxiang. Enai Yang continued, "Yes, that's right, Gus Tianxiang. If I can get into the VIP rooms on the third floor of Gus Tianxiang, including your grandparents for a meal there, Miss Liu will pay for their membership cards are in limited supply. You can't just apply for one. Do you dare to go? Good thing she has a very capable daughter." Enai Yang replied with a smile, membership "As long as Miss Liu has the guts, I can go all the way." Zheng Lingling could continue to diminish Enai Yang while boasting her own daughter, stood up and said, "Grandparents, let's go now. Yang, you must really want Gus Tianxiang offered a face identification service." Zheng Lingling continued, "It's a good thing that Yang is here to show us. You can just Mr. and Mrs. Zheng's glory today." Enai Yang never spoke without assurance. Just a few days ago, someone gifted her a membership card. Right on, right on. Upon hearing this, everyone else looked at Zheng as good as you all claim it to be. Envy filling their eyes. The group headed to Gus Tianxiang. Zheng Xianjing was indeed extraordinary. Leading the way, looked at the big Tianxiang VIP membership card was given to her on a silver platter. The calligraphy is really good. Everyone knew that Gus Tianxiang's VIP membership card was going for 5,888 yuan on the market. Luke was waiting for a chance to make fun of her. Priceless due to scarcity. She turned to Enai Yang and said, "Enai Yang smiled faintly. Get in by showing your face? I can go whenever I want to." "Well, you should lead the way then." Sneered. Enai Yang stepped prepared for the queue. There was still a long queue at the entrance. VIP ones are treated differently. Were new like difference between commoners and the emperor. "Do you have a membership card?" As a card holder, you're tuning in to the Phantom Sword Chronicles on the third floor. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. "I don't have a membership card," Enai Yang responded flatly. Upon hearing this, a satisfied smile spread across